Hi, this is Andrew Peepoy, creator of The Adventures of Simone and Ajax. You probably know me best from my work on The Simpsons and Fables, and I'm listening to the 11 O'Clock Podcast.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Good night, everybody.
Tip your waitress.
You see Khaleesi's going to be in Criminal?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's
awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's such awesome news.
She was really good in Solo.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah. I you know what? That movie gets a bad rap. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people made it out to be.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, I saw it in the theater, like I'm sure you guys probably did too, and I enjoyed it at the time. I haven't watched it again since, but I remember enjoying it in the theater and was kind of surprised at the negativity.
It's better than every one of the Kylo Ren movies, without question.
Oh, what? No, I don't agree with that, but I certainly agree that it's better than the one that shall not be named. But yes, but yeah. But I liked it. No, I really did. I'm an easy mark with the Star Wars films.
Yeah, the Star Wars stories are. I mean, we've had two, but I mean, they've been. Yeah. They both rock.
Hey, everybody! It's 11 O'Clock Comics yet again. This one is episode 938, and I'm Vince B.
Ooh, you are Vince B. I am David A. Price.
Indeed, you are, and of course, I am. May I rest in peace, Benji Gregory.
Aw, you're not Shelley Duvall. You're Jason Wood. No, poor Benji.
We lost two titans.
Yep.
Of the acting world today.
You're sad, very sad. But
one was one of the greatest actresses of her generation. The other was the child star of Alf.
Both contributed to the childhood of. For sure. Yeah. She did a lot of kids shows.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did like that. It seems like she went to TV either. I don't know if it was by design or by career arc. You know, she did most of her stuff on TV after that stint, Shining, Popeye, where she was the big movie star.
Yes.
I don't know.
But you're Jason Wood, everybody, here together thanks to CheapGraphicNovels.com. CheapGraphicNovels.com has all the stuff that you want at the prices you're willing to pay, which means you're going to save a lot of money. OGN, straight paperbacks, manga, omnibus editions, all that stuff. Massively discounted at CheapGraphicNovels.com. And if you're a first-time customer, plug this into your unit, your wall unit. if you're a first-time customer, get that email confirmation, and then you're going to respond to it. You're going to say, 11 o'clock comics, my booze sent me. And Max, happy birthday, is going to give you free shipping on your next order. It's crazy. Lots of savings. Saving money on the book, saving all of the shipping on your second order. It's just a massive, delicious, iced cake of savings on Max's birthday.
He's sickeningly young.
He is.
Birthday, Max.
Well, that's what happens when you're motivated and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a mere child in this long walk of life.
You know, when you have a game plan, when you have a goal in life and you set out to accomplish that goal, yeah, you can do great things when you're young. If you're a lazy slob like me, this is what happens. So yes.
This makes us feel great about sitting here to talk with you for a couple hours.
Yes. Happy birthday, Max. But I'm drinking.
Yeah, what you drinking?
Oh, yeah, I am drinking. I have 2 pints of Dogfish Head 90-minute Imperial IPA.
Okay, 2 pints, dang.
2 pints.
Respect.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
It's okay.
Just some water. Yeah.
I am enjoying some gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic.
And I need something cool.
It's hot there? It's not hot here at all.
It is hot. It was, well, it's finally 79. We were in the high 80s all day. And the office AC was on the fritz. It was over 77 degrees on Tuesday when I left early because I couldn't take it. And HR's AC was completely down. So my wife's boss let them leave the office. And because my IT director bumped into Renee on her way out, he was kind enough to let me go. And then this morning I found out the the HVAC guy on campus came by, and before I left the office today, it was down to 68, so it's working again. But yeah, it's stupid warm over here.
That was a crazy trip you just took us on.
Okay.
It was yeah.
I'm here for you.
Yep. I'm glad you are. So let's talk about some comics. That's why we're here.
Because I am also glad that the start of the next Grendel trilogy is upon us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
The first of which is Devil's Crucible, Defiance. So Grendel, Devil's Crucible, Defiance is the first of a 4-issue miniseries, and then we'll have another 4, and then the final 4 of this particular Devil's Crucible trilogy. This first issue takes place just about 500 years after the conclusion of our previous series. And now the Paladin, Grendel Prime, has returned to Earth, and it is nothing like it was when he left. In fact, Grendels are pretty much verboten and hunted and just not wanted at all. And there's actually a reward, dead or alive, for anyone bearing the name or the likeness or the markings of Grendel. So the first issue I thought was it's basically just Paladin thinking to himself, looking at everything and the waste. I mean, there are bodies and skulls all over the place in some areas, but in other places you have overgrown forestry and just buildings kind of just consumed by wildlife, and there's a really neat little swap meat flea market kind of place that he wanders into, but he has to kind of cover up his the eyes on his mask so you don't tell so you can't tell that he wears those marks. But the swap meet has some pretty interesting places. There's the grub pit, which of course it's like a really almost kind of Ren Fairish a little bit, the way some of the stands are set up and what's on display. But you've got your food, you've got your produce, you've got your alcohol stands, you've got which is called the fucked up, FUKT. There's butchers, there's swine, so you can just take your pick. There's some hermaphrodites hanging around, waiting for you to dip your wick if you're so inclined. But there's a pretty tense moment where our hero does come face to face with because there's an inspection going on at the market. So the anti-Grendels have appeared, and they're checking out everything and everyone, making sure everything is above board and any inspections are met successfully. And the Paladin decides to kind of like sidle away from the situation, but he gets caught. One of the troopers notices that he's got axle grease, something covering the eyes, and ends up removing the grease, and now you see that he's a Grendel, and they decide to jump into action. He defends himself, takes care of business, and meets a couple of friends along the way, and I absolutely love the reveal of who his friends turn out to be. Not that we've seen them before now, but just how they reveal themselves to Grendel Prime was neat to see. So it's not a super dense, a lot to go over. We kind of see the way the world is, and there's definitely some not depression, but he's definitely not thrilled with the way things are. Our hero, that is. But I thought, as far as the first issue and where we're going from here, I can't be mad at it. I'm definitely glad Matt and Brennan, the colorist, are back. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next 3 issues of this. Following Defiance, we have Sedition, and then the last is Necrotic. So as most of the no, not really most, but Matt tends to work with. The first Grendel arc was 12 issues, and the 4 is definitely. When I saw 1 of 4, I definitely thought either we were going to get like maybe some double-sized issues, or the end was near, or something like that, because we've never had such short, finite series with Grendel. I mean, except for Brian Lee Sung, but I mean everything else is usually 6 or 10 or 12 issues, sometimes 8. But yeah, it's nice to know that we have at least 11 more in this in this arc. But yeah, I thought it was those are really, really good first issue. And we're not out in space. He's not searching the stars to find another home for everybody. He's back here, and hopefully right some wrongs that have occurred in these past 5 centuries while he's been away. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
I'm glad you did, because I was like, I hope you. I mean, although I was thinking about it, like, what? I mean, how could, like, is there any possible way Wagner doing Grendel wouldn't, like, entertain you? Like, right? Like, it's because, like, it's his character. Like, he's not gonna whatever path he took you on, you'd find a way to appreciate it. And I'm saying
100%. Yeah, you're right. No, there's no. I mean, I would even if something were to happen where it's like, oh, I don't know if that makes sense. But I mean, obviously, it's his character. It's not like someone else is writing it. But yeah, it's one of those things where no matter what kind of situation he might be in, I would find a bright side to look on.
Yeah, well, I mean, with that said, I mean, I think everything you said is totally warranted. Like, I obviously am a later convert to Grendel, but I have read the first 3 Omniboo at this point, and we all read and talked about the last modern Grendel series. What was that, 3 or 4 years ago, or pre-pandemic maybe? I don't know. It was a couple years back, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think this was rock solid. I felt like it's just more greatness from him. And my only curiosity is, do you know, like, I'm hoping that he didn't solicit this until they were done the whole series. I'm hoping, but I don't know if that's the case, because
I don't know if we're going to have
time if he wants to. And
yeah, I mean, Devil's Odyssey, which was summer of 2021, so it was just after when things started to kind of turn to normal. But yeah, that was pretty rapid in its release. This I think maybe we'll get 4 issues, and then maybe we'll take a break for a month or 2 before the next first issue comes out. This way he can also
I assumed we wouldn't get the second arc for another year or 2. Like, I assumed it was, we're gonna get these 4 this year, and then stay tuned for the next 4, and then
maybe. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Well, actually, no. Wait. As you see, we're returning to monthly Grendel comics and serializing the Crucible story arc. 3 consecutive 4-issue series.
So he must have a lot of it done already, which is great.
I mean, he's had time since Odyssey to do it. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's good. That's great news. I think it'll be much more impactful, at least for me, if I can read it all like over a period of a year instead of, I mean, because that doesn't mean that once it's all done, it won't be great to reread. But I'd like to not have to wait. So that's great news. Nice.
I read it, but did not put it on my list.
Okay.
What did you think?
I didn't put it on my list for a reason, because I didn't plan on speaking on it, because the entirety of my comments would take about a minute.
Huh.
I thought it was, for Matt Wagner, I thought it was ridiculously mediocre.
Wow.
It didn't move me either side of the equation. It didn't excite me, and it didn't turn me off. It just was like it, and that not only the story, but I thought the illustration was like very spare. I expected a lot more from Matt Wagner.
Wow.
Especially coming off the last one, where you had all different environments and creatures, and he was in a visually exciting setting every issue, and this was just like, And I know it's the opening salvo to a 4-issue miniseries, but that's great. But if I was trying out a movie and it didn't grab me in the first 20 minutes, I wouldn't finish it. So that's kind of like what this did. It didn't spark anything. I didn't get any of the feels that I usually do when I read a Matt Wagner Grendel story, but it didn't compel me to not read it. It just was. And then,
you had a lot of those experiences this week.
I was absolutely about to say that. Yeah, definitely. You're not feeling first issues, and I definitely, I could see where you're coming from, and granted, it's a first issue, and someone's comic is everyone's first issue, but there are something like this. Granted, you one shouldn't assume. But I could see a creator maybe kind of just not anybody picking this up hopefully has some history with the character. So as far as like you said, if it's a first issue or if it's a movie and it's supposed to grab you, hopefully they know where he's coming from. But yes, if someone just tried this on a whim, hopefully there's enough there to keep them coming back for the next issue, or they'll feel like you did.
It's just the the stormtroopers. I thought the design was okay. The little robot. It was it did the job, but it wasn't anything really exceptional, right? Now I don't want to crap on it. It's just I thought it was okay. And I don't think that's a compliment.
Right. No, I get it. You don't mean it as a compliment. I get that.
It didn't. It doesn't.
You didn't have it on your list. We coaxed you into talking about this.
Yeah, but no, you didn't coax me. It didn't incense me in any way. I didn't feel like, oh my God, Matt Wagner's destroying the Grendel franchise. Like, no, it is. I don't know any other way to say it. I wasn't put off, but I wasn't turned on either. So
you have expectations.
And what other?
Not even. You know me. I just like to. Well, we'll get there. I don't like to drag any baggage, especially Grendel, because being a diehard Grendel fan, every arc is markedly different from the one that came before. So if you're going into Grendel thinking I want this, chances are really good that Matt's going to throw a curveball at you.
I do wonder if the end might be near for Grendel Prime, because this is the one iteration of Grendel that's lasted through multiple series,
right? Yeah.
And no one else has.
Oh, that's a good call, especially because we met this new group of rebels that all are kind of Grendelish because they wear the face paint or the mask like hidden, but they're not really Grendels. But maybe one of them or someone from this like revolutionary group ends up becoming whatever the new Grendel will be.
But Prime is like what, late 90s?
Yeah.
That's a long time in Grendel time.
Yes.
And he must have some kind of emotional attachment to the character, or he would have dispensed with it a while ago.
Probably easy to draw.
Yeah. I see. That's another thing. I think the cover's great. I think the illustration chops on the cover is amazing. And then it's kind of threadbare when you get inside. The line is very... It's sparse. It is. I don't know. Hey, it's Wagner and Grendel. I'm going to read it.
We're getting some. I mean, until we get to the market, there's a lot of open skies and empty backgrounds. It's just wandering the earth. So it's that is what it is. But I mean, and we do get some detail, especially when you're talking to what the hell, the guy selling the gears and shit. So I mean, we there are moments where you get a few more lines than early on in the issue, but I get where you're coming from.
Right. And I think maybe I was a little spoiled coming off the visual diversity of the last series, because that was just crazy. It was all over the place and mostly stunning, right? Every issue was just so colorful, and there were different kinds of design creatures and landscapes, and it was fun, and it was, I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
we'll see.
We also had, his Siggy was such a big part of the previous of Devil's Odyssey also, and Siggy's not around, so that those conversations aren't taking place. We're just getting, for more than half the issue, just whatever's inside the Paladin's head. So it's that maybe once he meets up with the rest of the Grendels, things will pick up.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We shall see. Jason, what was that other issue?
Well, I was saying you were alluding to the fact that this Grendel book just was neither offensive nor did it give you great pleasure, and that was the underlying arc of, I believe, I don't want to speak for you both directly, but I'm pretty sure you and Dap both saw it that way, and as did many of our slackers, and that is the X-Men #1, the launch title of the new Brevoort version of the X universe, and the official postscript on the Hickman era, as we used to call it. And it was written by Jed MacKay, who I think writes half of Marvel books at this point.
Pretty much, yes.
He's writing the Avengers. He's writing, he's about to end that, but he's doing Moon Knight. He's doing Blood Hunt, the event, and he's doing this. And I'm pretty sure he's got at least one more I'm not thinking of. But anyway, it's written by Jed MacKay and drawn by our boy, Mr. Ryan Stegman, making his return to Marvel Interiors after a while away. But yeah, so I was, I mean, we all have our things, right? And we tolerate our things more than we should. And I'm on record as saying that the Avengers and X-Men are my things. I read them in all iterations. There are many years where I don't talk about them on the show or don't want to talk about them, but I still read them because I just can't quit them. And then I get really happy when I think they're good because I'm like, I knew they'd be good again. So I was sort of mentally prepared for this new version of the X-Verse to just be nowhere near what I thought of the Hickman era, the Krakoa era. And this issue for me, I think I liked it a bit more. And again, I'll let you guys speak on it yourselves, but I feel like based on our feedback together this week, I feel like I liked it a little more than the consensus, but I also totally get where everyone else is coming from in the sense that, it's by the numbers, right? It introduces us to the new status quo, which is appropriate. It shows us the new team, which, I love a good getting a team together thing. So that's going to help get me over the hump on a middling issue, and have me like it a little bit more. I like anytime I prefer a team that's made up of classic members and new members like that. That's always my preference in a team book. So I like that. They gave me that. Huge props to Ryan for drawing Hank McCoy the way Hank should be drawn. That's wonderful to see because there's been too many iterations that I haven't enjoyed. But I'll leave it to y'all. But some people have issues with some of the other character designs. So I guess it's sort of one, half dozen one, six in the other. But for me, Beast was key. And I thought it was a fine setup, totally fine. It didn't make me angry or say, oh God, what are we getting ourselves into? But I also it didn't fill me with excitement or questions or awe, or the synapses weren't firing like you were just alluding to with Grendel, they were when Hox Pox hit, and it wasn't just longtime X-Men readers that were into it and talking about it, but you all, everyone got into it. Everyone was like, damn, this is really interesting. This isn't gonna keep any mild to moderate X fans around, I don't think. So yeah, could it have been worse? Yes. And I was mentally prepared for it to be a lot worse. Did I think it was, are we on the era to the fourth great X-Men era? No, I don't think we are. I don't think Jed's going to take us there. So, but by all means, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts because I know you have them.
I don't think fine is an acceptable word to describe a piece of art, right? It was fine.
Right.
A ride to the drugstore was fine.
Yeah.
Or a folding chair at a sport event. That's fine. but art should do something. It should push you into area. If you're talking to me, it should push you into unknown areas. But for most people, I think art should nudge you into an emotional envelope that you didn't have when you started the art, before you experienced it, right? When I was done with this issue, I thought, I have read hundreds of X-Men issues just like this one. Exactly like this one.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah, the creative team was different. I will say this because I have much love for Steggy, and I would take a bullet for him. The majority of those X-Men issues that I read did not look as good as this, right? I love Stegman's art. I think he did a wonderful job most of the time. Most of the panels on this issue. It looks good. It's just that it's the same thing I've read umpteen times before. So, it just begs the question, why the restart? I mean, we know the answers to these questions. We've been reading comics long enough where we already know the answers. Why the restart? Why the team change? It's just, they're just rearranging the deck chairs and hitting the reset button. So maybe they can coax a couple people more than the last run to read it. And it's just, you can see Oz at work. And it's just, okay. But again, I thought it was an issue of X-Men, right? Visually better than most, but narratively, it's the same old stuff. If you like X-Men, I don't see you disliking this issue because you've been given it many, many times before.
What you're saying, I always wonder sometimes how the audience perceives certain things we say, or because we always joke that we're three individuals, but we'll get a response like, "Oh, you guys didn't like, or they didn't, or they said this," and it's like, "Well, which one?" But
yeah, so we're not a they, but
right.
I guess we are.
Generalize, but I will say that. So I hope people don't take this as sort of a grandstanding statement, but I think the way you're describing this issue is how I would describe 95% of long-running superhero comics these days. And again, I'm not. Again, I hope people. I'm not saying that in a pejorative because I read a lot of them still. So I'd have to be a sadist if I kept reading them and I thought they were bad. That's not what I'm saying. But it's your point. We have a cadence, a long history with these characters, these worlds. So generally speaking, if I read a superhero comic these days, I hope that it's fine or better. And if it's fine, I don't feel like I wasted my time or my money. And it gets filed away. I probably don't remember much about it, and I go on from there. And yeah, this was in that category. If I wasn't 40 years into being addicted to these characters, would I feel any compulsion to come back for the second issue? No, not particularly. But there's probably some subset of superhero comic readers who this is exactly the kind of story they want, and they might pull them in. So who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. I think it's. Okay, Nightwing is the Tom Taylor Bruno Redondo Nightwing run is about to end. After 3 or 4 years, and I was never a Nightwing reader, as you know, and then I've loved this series with them doing it. And I think it's, to my mind, been one of the best superhero comics on the stands during the run. And that said, I have no intention of reading the next iteration of Nightwing, because the character never meant much to me. This particular team just did the character in the comic in a way that got me to enjoy that ride, but I'm leaving with them, and I'm sure that's the same for many people with this book. I'm sure you guys included. You read a little more mutants, I think, on the regular, with the Wolverine stuff. But that's very much a come and go at mutant person, just like I'm come and go with the Superman books. I don't, sometimes I read them and enjoy them, sometimes I don't. It's but it's not, it's not always. So yeah, I think that's where this book is, right? I wonder if Marvel was expecting more from this.
Maybe,
right?
Yeah.
Were they expecting this to be holy, we're in good graces, don't worry guys, we handed off the baton, we're good. I wonder if that's what they were hoping for, or maybe that's the reaction they're getting. I don't know honestly what other people think of it yet.
Yeah, I don't feel for him, but I think it's sardonically funny that Stegman has never, aside from the Venom stuff, I think Ryan's going to look at that Venom stuff that he did and see that as the time when he was on a book that actually was trying to change the perception of not only the character within the book, but how fun comics should be done. Like it wasn't lighthearted, but there was an airiness about Venom. There was an unpredictability about it. It spread over into all of the Marvel books. Like it was a really good time for that character. This is not that for the X-Men, right? And his Wolverine was not that for Wolverine. Like it just seems like Ryan gets on these books where there's like a massive expectation and the narrative aspect of it doesn't really deliver. He certainly delivers on the visuals. But I think the Venom may be the golden age of Stegman as far as being on a book that's lightning in a bottle, right? Mm. It's a little odd, right? Because shouldn't you, or shouldn't, if you were a writer and you were put on a comic and someone says, okay, do whatever you want. Like, wouldn't you try and do something markedly different from everyone that's come before? That's why you look at Hickman's X-Men, it's like, holy shit. Like, he rearranged that entire universe for the better. And it was challenging, it was exciting, you never knew what was coming next, the possibilities were seemingly endless, and they pulled the plug on it. Okay, great. Business as usual at Marvel, we get it. But, like, what do you have, as a writer on these kind of books, what do you really have to lose? Marvel changes creative teams like underwear, right? So if your version of X-Men isn't clicking, somebody else is very willing to come along to take another stab at it, right? So why not swing for the fences? Like, just do something really, really different.
That presumes that a writer is willing or able to swing for the fences.
I think Jed MacKay
is. What is he? I mean, Jed is, like I said, but what I've enjoyed a lot of what Jed's done at Marvel, but what I wouldn't call any of it.
Oh, same. But they seem
differentiated or distinctive. I mean,
he's just been given the keys to a lot of high profile.
What I'm saying is he's a hit the ball. He's a double down the gap, kind of guy in baseball terms. Like he's not a
I don't know what that means.
Either strikeout or hit a grand slam guy. Like he's you give him the characters, you give him some rules, and he's going to give you above average to every now and then like really good narrative with those characters. Like I don't know that he's a world maker or like he wants to rewrite the tapestries, right? Which isn't, again, no knock on him. Like I just don't know that that's in his toolkit. I wouldn't really think of
I wouldn't think either, but
yeah, I wouldn't even think of like a Mark Waid in that way, right? Like not to say I think Mark Waid's an all-timer, but to me, like Mark Waid doesn't really reinvent things so much as sort of he has a really good handle on the characters and executes them well. Whereas like obviously Grant Morrison came into X-Men or Batman and sometimes Morrison succeeds, sometimes he doesn't necessarily succeed in some people's eyes, but he always he always tries to do something new, right? Like that's what makes his thing tick. So I just think it depends on the writer. To your point, like I can't get mad at MacKay because he's not trying to completely reshape. If anything, I think it's like it's clear they put Brevoort on the books because even though all of us on the show and many of our cohorts and friends loved the Hickman era, a lot of people didn't, believe it or not. And so they feel like they need to get probably back to whatever they thought the X universe was before Krakoa. And again, we all think that's silly and not the direction you should go. But again, it's corporate
right.
IP. They're trying to play it safe now. They're like, we try to get crazy, and then now let's see if we can just keep the boat rolling with some safe stories.
Right. Well, the very concept of mainstream means that these books are designed for the lowest common denominator. The mainstream. Right?
Yeah.
And the Hickman run was definitely not that.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that I guess a bunch of people didn't like it because it's not the mainstream isn't supposed to challenge. It's supposed to just provide comfort food, right? It's as long as the money's coming in, why bother, right? But from an artistic point of view, from a creation aspect where you're making something, you're creating something from nothing, why would you want to do it the same way many before you have done it? Like, what's the point? Really, how is this Wolverine story any different from the one 10 years ago or the one 20 years ago. Like, it's not. But when it is different, people complain. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're making art, you're also making something that will be sold. I completely understand that. But if you're expending all this creative time and energy into making something, wouldn't you want it to be unique to yourself as an artist, as a creator? And again, then why are you working in the mainstream? I get it. It's just, it bugs me that these characters should be, at this point in the Marvel Universe, we should be reading stories that, like, are crazy experimental. Like, why not? People are going to buy the books either way. Right? You're always going to have a bunch of people that are going to buy your X-Men. They're going to buy Amazing Spider-Man. I think there's a plateau on these books that has been reached, that because we're all aging and there's not a whole lot of new readers coming in, you can basically do anything and the core audience is still going to buy this stuff. Right? Do you agree with that?
No, I'm not sure I do. I mean, I think the numbers continue to fall for these books, right? So it's like...
Well, that's even worse, right? So that should be the impetus to try something different.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but this is that virtuous cycle which we talk about a million times about all these hobbies, whether it be toys, action figures, vinyl, like anything that's a collectible. Board games, like they have become a thing where the interest level is in secular decline, and so they continue to rely on a core base that's going to be there until we die, and they keep raising prices and pushing the envelope, saying, well, this core group will get us through. But the problem is if you don't, eventually that group gets too small for it all to be viable, right? Like
what happens then?
Well, then they go away, or they cease, or they just end up being, they bleed out as novelty pieces, right? Like, well, you've seen that with vinyl, right? Or like action figures is a perfect example. I mean, action figures are a niche thing now, right? Like, yeah. I mean, like Hasbro still makes action figures, but they don't even pretend that they're for kids to buy anymore. I mean, they market them to adults like us, like to pay them as their collections, and they assume we're not going to open them, right? Like, as you guys know, like, you can buy Hasbro toys directly, but Big Bad Toy Store, of course, always has them too. And sometimes if you miss a drop, it's sold out on the Hasbro. Big Bad gets an allocation. So I've bought plenty of stuff from them over the years, and as you guys know, because I'm sure you've done it as well, they even have in their option when you buy these things like 3 qualities of box.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because they know that most of us are never opening the figure out of the box. So, like, yeah, my point is just that, like, like,
it hurts my heart.
What's that?
It hurts my heart. It really does. I mean, if that's the way you want to spend your money, great. But these things are designed to be touched and held and posed and appreciated. And when they're, constrained to the box and it's just, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want, maybe it's just the aging Marvel fan in me. I want to be able to read these books and get something new out of them. And every new iteration is just another painful reminder that I'm probably never going to get that again.
Now, I hear you, but I will also then say, many times, in fact, anytime Dapper I bring up a Marvel book, or even a lot of DC books that have a character that's been created in the last 30 years.
Oh yeah, I mean new old characters. I don't mean new characters.
To me, those are at dueling opposition. Like, I want Marvel and DC to give me something new and I haven't read before, but I want it to be the old characters that I read 50 years ago. Like that. Like, to me, that's like, I don't know, man. That's like trying to have your cake and eat it too. Like, I don't, like, what does that even mean then? You don't really want new. You just want the old shit done well.
Yes, exactly. It was just what I should have said, but didn't.
We've spent the last 10 minutes saying that it's really hard to get us excited about just doing the old shit well, because, like,
it can be done. I think it can be done.
We just had it for a few years, but I'm saying, but like, my point is, it ain't that easy, because again, your version of new or what you want changed it's a sliding scale. What is different than what Dap's version that he might want changed, or my version. It also depends on what characters we're talking about, right? Like you could make Batman, a space alien with purple skin, and I'd be like, that might be interesting, right? But like, you do that to, Domino, and I'm losing my mind, right? Like,
right. That's why
Dap is, I'm sure, like Dap, you'll like, obviously you're going to be more open to like them reimagining Iron Man completely than if they fuck with Superman. Like then you're going to be side-eyeing it hard to make sure that they're not doing something to Spider-Man's a perfect example. How many years of this show was Spider-Man an every 2 to 3 week conversation, if not every week for
long time.
I mean, anytime Spider-Man was up, especially in the early years, either all three of us or you and Niesman and David or you two were talking about Spider-Man, and it was at or near the top. Or Fantastic Four, at or near the top, always being talked about through the Hickman era. When's the last time we willingly talked about Spider-Man, the actual book, right? But so it's like, it's just tough, man. Like, what the problem with nostalgia is, what I'm nostalgic for isn't exactly what you're nostalgic for. It's not exactly what Dave is nostalgic for. It's not exactly, and like that's where when you have like, how do you cater to us all? You're not gonna. But the audience is so small now that you got to find a way, and that's gets us back to where we started. Just like, so they play it safe and they give the least common denominator. So saying to themselves like, well, if enough of these people read it and aren't offended, they'll keep reading it. And like that's again, like I understand the business motivation of why they make these decisions. I even think in some cases it's probably the right decision. But yes, as consumers of this stuff, we kind of wish it weren't that way. But I don't think there's an easy answer. And it's ironic we're sitting here talking about all this because Dan Buckley just had this talk of comics.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I don't see any salvation in his approach unless it is a scorched earth reset of the Marvel universe. Burn it all down. To right to the ground, start it all over. I don't mean in the Ultimate Comics vein. I mean, keep it 616, put a little bit of a spin on the classic origins, but I think the crucial element in that is you're going to have to get the best of the best writers and the best of the best artists. Just throwing anybody on a relaunch of Amazing Spider-Man is not going to work. And you got to lock them in for a decent run. You can't be doing like 3 issues and then taking a 3-issue break like Nick Klein on Incredible Hulk, who is great, but is not on the book for any length of time. I mean, I think there's a recipe. I really do, but it's going to take gumption. It's going to take balls to do it right. Just, starting the books over again, who cares? That's nothing. Raise the place. Burn it all down. Right to the ground. Start over.
Yeah.
But that'll never happen. That'll never, ever happen because it's too risky a business proposition.
Yeah.
And I laugh when he said, yeah, I think we should really try to keep the books at $3.99 for the foreseeable future. You know as well as I do that that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, more also, too, it's like, I don't know that $3.99 is a price point that's going to really matter, right? Because, again, if the goal should be, okay, we got the EOC crew and all their homies still buying these things, but we need to find a way somehow, some way to get younger readers. And the data is just overwhelmingly against that. Now, if it is somewhat cyclical, I'm not saying that 5-10 years ago later from now we won't have a period where people are loving traditional comics, but the data is fairly overwhelming here. Like, I know the comics industry is doing okay, like that is true, but like it's doing okay because of YA and young and children's based graphic novels, and it's doing okay because of manga. Like those things didn't used to get included in all of the comics data that we'd all trumpet, and very, very slowly they started calling those things comics too in the way that they described the market because they understood they needed to. And that's, again, I don't blame them. Like that's the logical thing to do. You move the goalposts to make it look good, right? Companies do that all the time with their own metrics. But like that being said, I mean, this is a business in secular decline, and so I don't like. I just think Buckley. Look, he's the president of the company. Obviously, he's got to have some opinion on these things, and I'm surprised that he so publicly announced that they needed a reset, and he implied that the industry needed a reset, but that Marvel, as one of the leaders of the industry, needs to take big steps first. We'll see what he means. I mean, to my mind, needing a reset is not holding prices at $3.99 where they already are, so you're resetting shit. And then also, like, again, like if you're going to actually change it, you need to change more than the one variable, right? Like you need to like reimagine what you think of as comics. Where are you selling them? How are you writing them how are you letting the younger people know that they're for them? Should you focus more on digital? Should you focus more on video. Like again, like if you're in the business of wanting like get more people to fall in love with these stories, like I don't like there's a million questions they need to ask, and maybe they're asking them, right? Like maybe he's going public with this because they've spent the last year or two in crisis mode trying to evaluate themselves, and they're ready to start unveiling things. Maybe who knows? I don't know.
I have a plan. Nobody asked me. Nobody consulted with me, but I have a plan, and it's entirely, as you said, based off the fact that younger readers have embraced manga. They've embraced the format, the form factor. They've embraced longer stories, more page count. So here's what you do. I'm not saying to publish Marvel Comics in a tankobon size, right? But not the same size as a standard comic book. Maybe a little bigger than a manga. What they have to do is they have to anthologize.
Yeah.
They have to get, like, say you have 10 different anthologies to start. You have a Spider-Man anthology that encompasses Peter Parker, Amazing Spider-Man, maybe Superior Spider-Man, maybe Silk, or Spider-Boy, or Spider-Gwen, like all those characters. Get your top writers and artists on it. Give them 10 to 12 pages a month, but pay them as you would if they were doing an entire book. That's crucial because you're not going to want to cut an artist and a writer's income just because you're changing the way comics are made and sold, right? So it's going to cost Marvel some money, right? Then do one for, say, the Fantastic Four universe, maybe Fantastic Four, Nova, Silver Surfer, Guardians of the Galaxy, like in that anthology. Maybe 120 page anthology per month, charge anywhere from $12.99 to $14.99. Market it right to those kids that are buying the manga. I think it would work.
It's what I thought when, for example, you mentioned Nick Klein, and after 3 issues, you need a fill-in. But if you had an anthology where he was only doing 10 or 12 pages in that chapter, he wouldn't miss a beat.
Even Art Adams could do 10 pages a month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'd have a great, consistent-looking book. Just like, I mean, we used to do it with Marvel Comics Presents. That first Wolverine serial had the same art. Well, until they did the cipher with Sam Keith, but you had one team working on that serial for however long it lasted. Granted, those were only like 8 pages, but still. But yes, absolutely. This way everybody's happy, and it would also allow that artist to actually get the money that.
Right, but you got to pay these guys. You can't just say, all right, you did 10 pages a month. Here's for 10 pages. That's not going to work. Because if you're used to drawing 20 pages a month, now your income is cut in half. So you're going to have to either pay them more per page or give them an incentive based on the number of copies sold. And who knows if that's going to work, right? You got to take care of the creative people because those are the ones that are making the mythology that's going to sell your paper. I would buy all of them. And I don't really care about the Marvel Universe at this point. But if I could get a book that has Art Adams, Brian Hitch, I don't know, just throw a bunch of big names out there and a bunch of great writers that are all contributing to this anthology where I read 10 pages of the Hulk that's continued next month. And then 10 pages of I don't know, the Gamma Force, or then another character that's somewhat related to the Hulk. Like have a Hulk anthology, or a Doctor Strange anthology that has all the Marvel Magic characters in it, or a team-up anthology that has, Spider-Man and all the characters just teaming up in continuing stories. Like that would be so much fun. I don't know. That's what I would do. And again, it's probably, I'm not a business person. Jason has reminded me of that fact many times, and he's absolutely right. My pie in the sky designs don't work in reality, but it would be really cool if they did this, because as a longtime reader, I would buy these things. I don't know why DC doesn't do this. They have the mechanics are already built in. A Bat anthology.
You can bring back dollar books. You've got the Action Comics Weekly. That was an anthology for however many months. So, I mean, they've done it. They can do it again. But it's just whatever the corporate overlords deem appropriate.
There's so much IP out there. especially with DC, you maybe have a war anthology, Sergeant Rock, Unknown Soldier, Black Hawk, right? Suicide Squad, like the niche bubbles in the DC universe would work as well as the Marvel bubbles. Legion of Superheroes, you can have an anthology with that just branches off into like Valor, and come on, there's stuff to do. I just don't know why they just don't take a shot at it. And again, Jason will tell me why I'm wrong. I expect it, but how is this not a good idea?
Well, now that's and now next time we the listeners throw questions at us, or we ask for questions, and they go, "What would you do if you could run a company?" Now you've got Vince's answer.
That's exactly what I would do.
Now we're good for another
anthologize. Even how about a Marvel humor book? Would be crazy. Howard the Duck.
That crazy.
Obnoxio the Clown. Like what? Like,
I mean, we're all. I'm nodding my head. I would be into all this, but again, the issue to me though is like we shouldn't even be the ones answering this question because we're like they have us.
Yeah, we're in. We're
but we're not. You say we're in, but we're not.
But they are. No, but we're 90%. We're still 90% as in as we ever were.
We're still talking about the first issue of an X-Men book.
Yeah, exactly. And like the people, like how we all still read it. Like so, it's like that's the industry is not in crisis or in secular decline because of what we would be the changes we would be open to. They need to figure out if they can figure out how to get younger readers to be interested in their product consistently and pay money for it.
Yep.
Because tons of young readers read plenty of comics, but as we've talked about a million times, they pirate them because A, they're expensive to buy, B, they're hard to get to, and C, they're fucking really easy to pirate because they're tiny files. Right?
I don't understand how they don't police the internet because every manga,
tiny files, man. Like
no, I'm just saying every manga I read, when I talk about it on the show, I do screen caps. There is a plethora of sites that will allow you to read fan-translated manga, whether or not it's being published by a major manga or not so major publisher. And I'm like, why are these sites still in business? Why are they still existing? Why is there not somebody from Seven Seas just out there saying, you guys, we have the rights to do this in the States. Why are you giving it away? Because
I'm really surprised with comics because, like, at least with I would understand if you could get most comics pirated easily, but the fact that Marvel and DC, Marvel in particular, just because, I mean, they're part of Disney, and literally Disney doesn't let bakers use their characters.
I know.
I mean, I remember, I'm sure we've all had an example. I remember when our kids were young, we went to a bakery, and I don't even remember what the character was. Maybe it was one of the Pixar characters, and we were like, I was like, oh, I can print out I can print you a, the thing if you just put on the cake. And the guy was like, I'm sorry, sir, we can't do that. And that's when I learned, like, I didn't know that until that point. But like,
yeah,
I was like, dude, like, you're a baker in a suburb in New Jersey. Like, Disney's going to give you a cease and desist. And he's like, well, in today's day and age, if you guys take pictures and you put it on the internet, it's on Facebook, they'll try. Look, yeah, we'll send us something like that. Is insanity. So it's like Marvel won't let like that happen, right? They won't like, but then they'll, to your point, like, they'll let these comics just be out there in the ether. But again, we're getting off on a tangent. Like, my point was just that, like, your idea it's fine to me. I'd be down with it, but like, that's not the point, though. Like, and this is where I say, I think generally I view Marvel and DC largely the same, and that they're kind of like a duopoly, and they've made a lot of the same. They follow each other's path, and there's really not been much innovation. One does, and any innovation they try that works, the other one does it. But I will say, if I'm grading the two, DC's done a much better job this last decade understanding that the future is away from the direct market. Because while, again, we don't talk about them, so we don't read most of them, but you guys know, you look at previews or solicits, DC puts out a ton of stuff featuring their characters in different formats, largely by way of YA graphic novels, geared towards the Raina Telgemeyer's crowd and the like. And again, those aren't things that we're going to be excited to read or talk about, but they do it a lot. And when I look at the annual book scan data that Brian Hibbs always publishes about and talks about, DC always crushes Marvel in the traditional book market. Crushes them. Like, Marvel doesn't have a book usually in the top 100, and DC's, got the majority, not the majority, but plurality. They got the most. And I just, so I think they do a better job. Now, are they doing like enough? That I can't speak to, because obviously they don't share their numbers anymore. But like, I feel like they at least are doing something. Marvel has just been, by hook or by crook, committed to the floppy direct market. Like they've just stayed committed to it. They're like the G's. They're like, nah, we're going down with the ship. And it's like, hey, respect to you, but like, man, oh man, like you better change soon. And it sounds like Buckley at least understands that change is needed. But I know we kind of riffed about whether we should all have our own ideas as to how to fix it. Like, I don't have an answer for you. Like, because I don't think I'm turning 50 this year, and I'm in. You got me. Like, I'm going to read these things and talk about them until I die. But like, that's irrelevant.
I think alternate modes of distribution is essential. I think they have to realize that the direct market is on life support, right? For the most part, it's eventually going to go away when we go away. So you got to get them into your Walmarts and your Targets. And I think Sheets is an untapped market. The traffic, the teen and above traffic at our local Sheets is ridiculous.
Make sure you tell everybody who's not in the on the East Coast or around Pennsylvania what a Sheets is.
Yeah, I don't know what a Sheets is.
All right, Sheets is like a gas station that sells food and does car washes. Yeah, it does car washes and has
like Wawa.
Has coffee. Yeah, like a Wawa.
Okay. Yeah.
But the amount of kids from like grade school to college age that go in and out of a Sheets locally every day is ridiculous. You got to find new avenues to sell these things, right?
Well, I would argue selling comics in Sheets isn't a new avenue. It's an avenue that was driven out of existence 40 years
because
ago.
Of the corrupt newsstand market.
No,
but anyway,
listen, but again, this conversation. My problem with this conversation is again like the answer is that kids don't want to read single issue comics for $5 and go.
No, that's the thing. I'm talking about the anthology format. I don't give a shit.
No, but they don't want to read physical books. Like kids don't read. Like most manga is read digitally. Kids they subscribe. Like so, it's like.
What about
kids' favorite characters are coming from video games that they played as their children?
Okay, what about the Scholastic format? They seem to be doing very well.
They do because that's a book market for young kids to read in bookstores, and again,
right.
DC does some of that, but that's not enough. I mean, DC's doing okay in that market, they're not crushing it, and Marvel doesn't do it at all. But that's not a new thing. Like
no, of course not.
Graphic novels is new.
Oh, like get those anthologies in the Scholastic market. What's wrong? I mean, as long as the comics are all eight, do it.
Sure, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Whatever. I'm passionate about the comics industry because I think the very same way Marvel managed to crack the cinema experience, I think they could do that with bookstores and reading experience, but they just haven't figured it out. I don't know the answers, but look at all these characters. These are the greatest characters ever created. Same thing with DC, right? Superman. Who doesn't know Superman? Why aren't more people reading this shit? I don't know. But anyway,
let's not forget, I mean, 5 years ago, IDW was putting out digest-sized collections of Marvel characters for kids. I mean, they had the lineup for, 3-4 years. I mean, so it's not that, again, like, they've tried that, and it didn't last. So.
I don't get it. Yeah. I wish I was a wizard. I would wave my wand and make it all right. But anyway.
So, my thoughts on...
Oh, yay.
Number one. First, it's great to see Celsius from Doom Patrol back, but my one issue, well, I have a couple of issues, but I don't know why the colors on Temper's outfit alternate throughout the entire issue. The other thing is I immensely dislike Cyclops' new look. And I don't know.
You mean
why
Kid
Max
Cyclops?
Yeah. I mean that.
He's too young.
And we got Max over here man spreading in Professor X's chair, but it
full of Kimbo, legs of Kimbo.
Man, he's just like
nothing wrong with that. If you got it, flaunt it.
But bro, so especially when he's talking to the chief, like the sheriff shows up, he's like, "Hey, you like what you see?" But I mean, I think the hook was pretty neat as far as these full blown adults now with that have been activated, which is obviously different since the gene kicks in at puberty, so they have a mystery to solve. I am not and for a myriad of reasons, I'm not a huge Kid Omega or Quentin fan, so I get the appeal. I understand why he's popular, but the attitude, the personality is just it's.
See, I like him.
So I know you do, and I get it, and you're not alone. I am absolutely sure I'm in the minority, and that's fine. I'm not buying a book for Quentin, so it's cool. I understand he's got his moments. I haven't finished the Sabretooth War, but I was enjoying him in that to a degree. So, the team. I don't know how I feel about this particular team. I mean, aside from, and the thing is, MacKay was clever enough where he gives the reader a team in action, but he also has Hank giving some backstory to the sheriff. So I would have liked to have seen everybody out in the field or one or the other, but at least for a story purpose, I dug the split. It made sense here. But I don't know how I feel about this particular team. I thought the quips with Juggernaut were amusing. But yeah, I don't. I'll probably wait and then check it out after a couple more issues are out, and then maybe binge those just to see how it feels. But the art's great. Stegman looks great. JP's been inking for a while. They were a good team together. Yeah, I thought the cameos here and there were neat. I don't know why, if the bonus scene was just one page, why you couldn't put it at the back of the book instead of that damn QR code. But and that scene, I don't know. I mean, you've got 4 people sitting around a table in shadows, and you get like a description of who they are, but you don't see who they are. So I don't know if that's something that they're doing in all the first issues of the new X books, or if that's something that they're just going to be doing with this particular book, and we'll have another secret scene in the second issue. But
I didn't even do that. Like, I'm not going to take a picture of a QR code and look at something on my phone. It's not going to happen.
No, I know.
Yeah,
the only reason I did it is because I was sitting at my desk in the office. So I figured.
No, I get it, but it's just like that was an annoyance to me.
Especially like if you're in the subway, if you're reading it while like you're commuting or something, like you're going to fumble around with everything. It's weird. Or if God forbid somebody actually takes it into the bathroom with it. Like there's
it's like the old Marvel AR stuff where you had it. Like this is ridiculous. I don't want this. It does nothing.
It's not like it was an extra 5 pages. It was
one
page.
Yeah.
You just could have put it on the damn like I didn't get that. I don't know why it was supposed to be a secret since they're really, but I'm not
metrics. They probably did it for metrics.
I'm not all in on my Mutant Lore these days, so I'm sure there are obvious misses that I did not.
But look at it this way: if you had to if you had to take a picture of that QR and it took you to someplace on your phone, say they sold combined physical and digital. I'm overestimating, but say they sold 100,000 units of this magazine combined, and they get the metrics on the click was like 260,000. Then they know they got a fucking problem, right? Mm-hmm. That there's 160,000 people that got this issue or read this issue through alternate means, or borrowed it from a friend, or just pirated the issue. So I understand as far as a gatekeeping thing where it's just like we got to stop the flow of blood on all these pirated copies. That makes sense to me. But as an old fart, I'm not going to click a fucking QR code to read it. Get out of here.
The only other thing, and this is just a graphic design kind of thing. It's the whole "don't open dead inside" issue aspect of it, and that's the credits where you've got 2 columns, two vertical boxes, and instead of grouping the creative team, the way it should be like up. It was weird to me seeing that break between the boxes, and you have Jed and Ryan's names across each other instead of one underneath. It was it was a weird flow for me. And again, that's super nitpicky. That's like the first thing I see when you see the credits page.
It's a weird take.
It is. It absolutely is. I don't care.
I know you don't, but I'm just saying it's weird.
I don't think
it's weird.
So what?
Yeah, I don't. Jason said, "Who are we buying this issue for?" And I'm like, okay, Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Wolverine. Okay, I get it. But like the rest of the group, Magic has her fans, so I get that too. But like, who is happy that Juggernaut's on the team?
I think it's great.
What
Like I said, I prefer a team that's got a couple core familiar members and then a couple of new people. Again, what you just got to say, you want something new. I don't want to read this. Like, I don't want Justice League to be the 7 every time. I don't want.
No, I get it. Yeah, but I mean,
that's my point. Like, so,
Juggernaut, then you use Peter.
He's been an X-Men before,
right? But I mean, why not use Peter? Then you have a nice little play with Ileana and Peter.
I mean, obviously Bendis did that with the Avengers. He brought all those characters in.
Why not? I don't.
Well, you could. I mean, what like
why Temper and not Iceman? Okay.
Because they have plans for Iceman in another book. Like,
I didn't know that. Do they?
Saying, but that shouldn't matter at all. It shouldn't matter who these like. That,
I mean, she's attractive, and I'd rather look at Temper than Bobby. Sure.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I mean, all these team books have had a big part of those books is who's the member, who comes and who goes. I mean, it's a big part of that ongoing narrative. So
right. I think we spend more than enough time on a mediocre book.
Too, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
an hour plus on discussing the mediocrity of mainstream comics.
There you go.
Just to so I don't forget. 1992 is when Grendel Warchild premiered.
Right, that's crazy.
Of Grendel Prime.
That is crazy.
Yeah. That's when I graduated high school.
24 years. So there have been people born and now they're working.
Yes.
In that span of time. But speaking of inventive, revolutionary, and just plain different, I have something.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you like this. I don't see how you couldn't, because it's challenging, it's different, it's new. It's called Fool Night. And this is the first volume. It's written and illustrated by Kasumi Yasuda, and it's published by Viz Signature. The opening scene is brilliant, and it perfectly sets the stage for everything that follows. I think it was really, really well done. And I didn't catch on at first what was happening, but because I'm old, and then after I read it twice, I'm like, oh, this is cool. You have 2 kids on their way to school. One male, his name is Toshiro Kamiya, and another's female. Her name is Yomiko Horai. And they're very close friends, right? And they're spouting the silly banter one would expect from tweens. Toshiro wants to be a rock star, and Yomiko tells him he's nuts. But the setting, the environment, the rub is that it's very dark out. And they explicitly say they're walking to school. So I'm like, okay. I thought maybe the kids were heading out to school in the very early morning, like before sunrise. Not out of the ordinary, right? Especially in Japan, right? Where they're groomed to excel in school. But no, this is a world that is blanketed by thick, dark clouds and has been for a century. So you got generations of people that have never known the light of the sun, the warmth of the sun. Obviously, this poses a problem, right? Because without the sun, what don't you have? You don't have plant life, because plants don't grow without the sun. And without the sun, plants don't grow and they don't produce oxygen, so you're fucked. So what happens? Well, there's a solution. The big brains devised a revolutionary process called transfloration, in which a seed is placed within the human body and within 2 years completely overtakes the human organism. And they grow into plants called spiriflora that thrive in low light. That's the kicker. These plants are able to grow and produce oxygen with very, very little light. But the process is entirely volunteer-based. And the government will pay you 10 million yen, which is around $60,000 or so. Not a huge amount of money, but nothing to sneeze at, right? $60,000 is not bad. To those who begin the process, but there's a catch. Volunteers must be found to be critically ill and at the tail end of their lives. Like, the government's not interested in government-assisted suicide, so donors have to go through a battery of tests to verify that their conditions are indeed as they claim. You know, it's a good way for those at the end of their lives to produce and provide for their loved ones, right? And maybe give a little back to humanity in the process, right? So in the opening scene, the kids are walking to school and they're passing rows of these plant-human hybrids. There's vines twisting, and some of the vines have limbs and heads, and like there's branches protruding from eye sockets and mouths, and there's dialogue balloons that are coming from the plants, but they're in this pictographic language, shapes and little forms, and you can't make heads or tails out of it. But the thing that struck me is that the kids are walking to school and they're passing by all these deceased, at least the corporeal shell of human beings, discarded, and they're just not paying any mind to it. Like, there's shoes on the ground next to these plants where the plant has pushed through the shoe and like exceeded the confines of the shoe, and that the shoe just dropped off. Like, it's gruesome and dark, but the kids are just like, oh, we gotta go to school. Yeah, I'm gonna be a rock star. Okay. So the kids age, and Toshiro and Yomiko take very, 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 very different paths in life. She becomes a doctor. Actually, one of the administers the seeds to the donors. Like, she's important. She makes a good salary. But she often asks herself, did we just kill someone? Like, after she implants the seed, did we just murder this person? Like, in a sense, you know? But Toshiro has it really rough. He works long hours in a factory, and he produces circuit boards. He's doing the little soldering and stuff, and he's supposed to produce a certain amount of circuit boards a day, or they come down on him. But at home, his mom has psych issues, and he works solely to provide the medicine to quell his mother's psych issues. Like, he's under massive pressure, not only to provide for his mother, but to produce enough damn circuit boards to keep himself employed. You probably see where this is going. He fucks up at work. Pressure's too great. Doesn't meet his quota, so he's fired. And on top of that, when he gets home, his mother has a violent episode. Like, she's just, off her meds. She's crazed, and she's chasing him around with a knife through the streets, and she's beating the shit out of him. She eventually, she stabs him. So he's thinking, like, what do I do? Like, how do I get the money to pay for mom's medicine? I gotta think of something. And so he decides on transfloration. He's interviewed for the process by, you probably guessed this too, his old friend Yomiko. And he lies to her. He tells her that he has late-stage intestinal cancer. And she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. But she does the tests because that's what she's supposed to do. She follows procedure. And when the test comes back saying that, no, this guy doesn't have cancer, he's lying, she freaks out. Like, she's like, what are you doing? Why would you want to do this? And he's just like, I have no alternative. Mom needs medicine. I have to make this right. And just remember, like, these two have spent the majority of their formative years together. So, and we get a few glimpses of that in the narrative along the way, but she eventually agrees. Like, she's like, okay, this is what you want, I'll do it, which is a breach of protocol. And she could be very much in trouble for it, but she does it because Toshiro's her friend, right? This guy is fucking bad luck schleprock, because the procedure's a success. He's got the seed implanted. He's got 2 years to get his affairs in order. They gave him the 10 million yen, and as he's leaving the clinic, he's robbed. And the thieves steal his 10 million yen. Like, holy shit, is this dark? But there's a slight upside, because Toshiro is unique. He's the only transfloration patient able to perceive, not only perceive, but translate the language of those who have undergone the transfloration process. He can understand what the various spiriflora littering the landscape are saying, what they're communicating. And this skill gets him a job that pays much more than he's ever earned in his entire lifetime. But remember, in 2 years, he's going to completely transform into a plant. So the second half of the first volume is there's this pianist that is talented, but she hates to play the piano because her father beat the living shit out of her as he was teaching her. He's a pianist himself. He was teaching her how to play the piano, and if she didn't get it right, he would beat the fuck out of her. And this is where he gets into a little murky territory. Like, the guy loves her, but he won't brook any kind of inadequate playing on the piano. Like, he just throws the girl around, pulls her by the hair, makes her do it again. If she doesn't do it, he beats the shit out of her again. And she hates playing the piano because of this. Like, she's good at it, but she hates it because the very act of playing the piano makes her remember all the ways her father brutalized her, and she hates her father. Turns out that in order to put her through school, her father, who was assumingly ill, underwent the transfloration process, and now she wants to find the plant he eventually became, and she hooks up with Toshiro to find the plant. She wants to burn the fucking thing to the ground. Does it turn out that way? No, but I'm not going to spill the beans. I'll let you read it yourselves. But, like, this is the kind of shit that I love, because I think it's inventive as hell. Like, if you had the chance, if you were ill and you had the chance to somewhat provide for your family by undergoing this process, would you do it? I don't know, because you don't know. Like, so now you've transformed into a plant, which means you can't move. Are you aware of the fact you can't move? How much of you of perception are you actually receiving? Like, do you know you're in one spot? Do you know your limbs can't move? What do you feel? What do you see? What do you hear? That's crazy, to just go into this thing not knowing what that will be. But people do it. And I think, like, this is, I love the premise of this series. I think the art is very different from what we've, the usual manga, diet. It's not, it's very loose and very gestural. It looks like, I mean, Dap's gonna gasp, but it looks like For Better or Worse. Have you ever seen the comic?
Lynn Johnston.
But yeah, Lynn Johnston, but it's not as cartoony as For Better or Worse, but it's as the shorthand for the human anatomy is very much like For Better or Worse. There are certain times when Yasuda will just eliminate an eye. Like, a character will be seen in the midground or the background, and they only have one eye. Like, he just blanks out one eye for some reason. It's weird. The lines are very expressive and flowing, and I think it's just beautiful. But the scenes where you get the remnants of the human form intertwined with plants, like, it's just devastating. It's really hard to take. And I love this book. And I think, I mean, if you guys get a chance, read it. I think it's very challenging on a whole lot of levels. It's like a what if. Like, what would you do? How do you know? You don't know. But then again, in life, you don't know. Like, so many people bank on a certain form of religion being the one for them, but you don't know at the end if it's going to pan out in the way you think it's going to pan out. Like, you could die and just blink out. And that's it. That's life, right? You could be strumming a harp for the rest of existence on a cloud. Like, who knows? You don't know. So it mirrors reality in a sense, and then it doesn't. It's very dark and very gloomy and very depressing. But they're like the good manga series. There's another layer to it. There's a redemptive aspect to it where things don't play out as you think they will, and some characters do the right thing and some characters don't do the right thing. And I think it's great. So read it. It's Fool Night, Volume 1. I did a little bit of research. There's at least 8 volumes of this in existence in Japan, so this may run longer than 8. Who knows? I don't know the duration, but just assume it's going to be at least 8. The cover price is like $14.99 for over 200 pages, which is good. So Fool Night Volume 1, written and illustrated by Kasumi Yasuda, published by Viz Signature. I love it.
I see they're on chapter 78 on Viz's website, so I don't know how many volumes that equates to, but
right. Well, on the site that I went to pull the screen captures, because there's no digital versions of this, at least as far as I could tell, they were on volume 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can read the first 3 chapters and the most recent 3 chapters for free on Viz.com.
Yep. But poor Toshiro, like, you just got 10 million yen and then somebody robbed it from you. Somebody stole it. Like, what? It's just so downbeat.
It's hard out here. I'm confused because you said he lied to his friend about having cancer, but I thought you also said before that because they don't want to be assisted suiciders, they
right. It's verboten. Right, you have to be critically ill to do it.
Right, but I'm saying so how? But how? Why didn't they test him to make sure he had cancer?
They did. And the test results came back, but the fact that Yomiko was his childhood.
So she broke the rules for him.
Yeah, she broke the rules for him.
Okay.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. There could be repercussions somewhere in the narrative down the line. I don't know. But yeah, it's just an amazing book, and it's just again, it's like one of those what if things. Like I try and insert myself into the narrative. Like, what would I do? Knowing that I was critically ill, would I do it? Would I not do it? Would I just want my children to buck up and make it on your own? Because I'm not going to be here forever. That's what I tell them all the time. Like, you don't think that me and mom are going to be here forever providing for you, so you better get your shit together. And I mean, there are parallels in this series to what we right, and I think it's great. It's just wonderful. Yeah,
art looks great.
Yeah,
I was just clicking through the first two chapters.
Some of it's rough, though. I mean, it's riveting. There were pages where I was just like, oh God, like that is harsh. Like there's a person that's in mid stage of transforming from a human to a plant, and like their whole upper body's extended and their head is like pierced by this vine, and it's just. Yeah, it's rough. It's not an easy read by any means.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it looks like Viz is missing a chunk of chapters from like 36 to 63 or something. But other than that, chapters 36 through 63 are currently unavailable. We are working to backfill these chapters, and then it picks up again with 64.
Well, you'll get a good chunk of the story up to 30, whatever. Yeah. The only thing I don't like about it is the cover. It has an image of Toshiro, and he's painting his mouth with in red with a smile. It's too Joker for me.
Yeah.
But don't judge it by the cover. I think the cover is very weak. Most of the cover, but the fact that it terminates in the plant, which is enveloping a human heart, like that's nice. But the fact that he's painting a smile on his face, it's too Joker for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is not anything like that. Yay, good stuff. Woohoo! What else do we have? Oh, if you haven't noticed it, people, this is a regular episode. We're gonna go the duration.
Yeah, we're back.
The good old fashioned 2+ hours.
Put our comfy jeans back on.
Yeah, we got nothing else to do. Fuck it.
Yeah, right. Well, so since we spent more time than we probably planned talking about comics before your manga talk that we didn't, weren't gaga over. Let's try and start hitting some high notes. On our EOC Slack channel, a few of our compatriots had on Comics Discourse 114 podcast, Brian Byrne and Hassan, they had an episode where they discussed their 5 favorite comics of the first half of the year. So like a halfway point O'Closkers, if you will. And I thought it was an interesting exercise. So I think so. I opened up the conversation on the Slack to the community and just said, hey, if you guys, what do y'all think? What are your favorite 5 comics that you've read this year? And we have discussed in great length 3 of my 5, which were Miles Davis and the Search for the Sound by Dave Chisholm, the Doom one-shot, which of course we all loved and had Sanford on to talk about, and the Midnight Order, which is Matthew Bebley's latest. The 2 that we have, the 4th we have talked about a little bit, but not recently, and that is Wonder Woman by Tom King and Daniel St. Pierre, and then the 5th and final, which we haven't really talked about at all since the first issue, is Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, long-ass title, by Jason Aaron, Alexander Tefenki, Leila Del Duca, and Nick Dragata. So I know Dap is up to date on Wonder Woman as well, and I think we should chat about that for a bit, because I think, especially since we did spend so much time talking about the mediocre state of superhero comics in general, I think when the two companies are putting out a collective like 100+ superhero comics, even when you're kind of collectively down on them, like on the whole, there's always going to be some standouts. And to my mind, I think this Wonder Woman run has been nearly perfect. Each issue is different, and it's not like I have some deep nostalgia for the character, such that some of these things that they're doing would just really hit me right because of the nostalgia. I mean, I think I'm coming at this with pretty fresh, fair, and balanced eyes, and I still think the way that they're weaving so much of Wonder Woman's history into this very modern, contemporary story of basically the government trying to take her down is awesome. I think it's just, I mean, the 9th issue focusing on, Steve Trevor and basically revisiting like all the key moments of their time together in comics, but done so in a way where it was actually her thinking about him trying to stay sane, using kind of imagining things while she's stuck in a cell she can't get out of, and with no light, no food, and no water, and she's just trying to stay sane and stay focused. I thought that was brilliant. And then this last issue, she goes up against what I think most would consider her arch nemesis, and it goes in a direction that I just thought was magnificent on all levels. And there was a bit of a Ocean's 11 vibe to part of it, and it ties it all together. And it's a getting the team together book on issue on top of that, where now Wonder Woman's got her badass bitches together, and they're about to whoop some ass. And I just think, I like I said, I think this book has been as close to perfect through nearly a dozen issues as you can get. So I know Dap, you're up to date too. How are you feeling about Wonder Woman?
I thought the most they've all been highly enjoyable. I've enjoyed the arc. I enjoyed the interlude where Diana and Clark go shopping. But
yep.
Knowing what I appreciate about Tom is nothing really ever what it seems, and loves to play the long game. That whole thing on the island with first of all, the sisters, great times, looking for, finding, tripping over the invisible jet, and then trying to get there. That
just straight up funny too.
I enjoyed that a whole lot,
right? Because the invisible jet is like a super corny thing that's from the jet, like, you know what I mean? Like in and of itself, like in a world of craziness, like that's a corny construct. Like the idea of an invisible jet, like why the fuck she need a jet in the first place? but they made it funny. It was like legit funny. Like I'm like, oh, that's like I'm with you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, even when, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, Eeyore just wants to rib Cassie to no end. It's a great sisterly relationship. Once while Tom allows us to enjoy hilarity ensuing with them, we get the hot and heavy action with Diana and Barbara, aka Cheetah, and it's just it's what I found fascinating. Not really the right word, but when a narrator is talking about the great nemesis and the arch enemies and the rivals, and you've got Lex Luthor and Batman, or Joker and Lex Luthor, Superman, or Joker and Batman. But does Wonder Woman have the other side of that coin? And just like, for years it was always about Spider-Man and Green Goblin, but actually no, it might really just be Doc Ock. But seeing this relationship and basically Diana being sent to this island and having a plan was just that completely blindsided me, and it just added another nice little layer on top of what's been a really solid story from jump. There hasn't been, I mean, even though we start off with an accident, a death, and government going after the Amazons, and then it getting to here, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a gorgeous ride because Daniel's art is stunning. But yeah, I really, really, really did like the most recent issue, and we've continued to the next one. But it's been an absolute blast, and it's visually stunning, and Tom's telling one hell of a story.
Respect. And you know what too? I didn't mean, I'm so used to working with certain artistic partners, but I didn't know what to think of Sampier because I hadn't really read much with him. A few stray DC issues here and there, but I didn't know much about him. And I think he's great for this book. I really think. I know in a lot of cases the writers at the big two don't really have much of a say as to who they work with, and I don't know if Tom asked to work with Daniel or it was just the right time and they felt Daniel was ready for a book like this. But he's terrific. Like a much better. I don't say better because I don't really have an opinion, but really, really strong. I think we shouldn't undersell Sampier's role in this book of being awesome.
Right.
Oh, yay. Must have caught Vince going to take a pee while we were talking Wonder Woman.
No, I said yay.
and of course the Trinity backups are fun too.
Haven't read a single page of them.
Oh, they've been great. Especially, the first one was fun, and then a couple of them they kind of fluctuate, but the art's been fun in there as well. Yeah, Bell and Ortega, I like that a lot. But yeah, definitely recommended Wonder Woman a lot.
What was the other book?
Oh, the other book that was on my list, I said it was Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, which finished up, maybe 3-4 weeks ago? Maybe a little longer. I think so. Finished up, yeah, maybe a month or two back. I mean, we did talk about it when it was first launching, how happy we all were that Jason Aaron was back doing creator-owned work. And from the start, we knew that the conceit of the book was that it was going to be a 15-issue series with 3 arcs that were divided up. Not purely divided up, I'll get to that, but the main artist for each of there'll be the main 3 main artists for each of the chapters, and the first 5 issues were mainly drawn by Alexander Tefenki. Then the 6 through 10 were drawn by Leila Del Duca, and then the last 5 by Nick Dragata. And I'm sure for some that you might, if you're not familiar with those names, those are as dramatically different of an artistic trio as you could get. Like, that wasn't the case of Jason saying, oh, hey, it's going to be a long series with a lot of detailed work, so let me just get 3 badass artists that kind of have a similar vibe. It's just the opposite. He specifically tasked and found 3 creative partners that have wildly different ways of illustrating, and it's to further punctuate the idea that these 3 chapters are big gaps in their lives. So the story is essentially a lifelong romance between Mezzi and Maceo. Mezzi being short for Esmeralda. She is this rough and tumble, post-apocalyptic setting. She is a rough and tumble, badass young woman who's staying alive out there doing her thing. She's part of a group called the Rangers. She ends up on a scouting mission for supplies, running into Maceo, who is living in a skyscraper all by himself, and he's like almost a Tony Stark level preternaturally gifted inventor. So he has all these great modern contraptions. He's living the life, but they end up being friends and going on this grand adventure. He leaves the tower with her, and we see that part of their life when they first meet, and they're, I'm guessing, probably late teens around would be my guess, like between 16 and 18 probably in that period of time. And then the second chapter jumps forward to when they are adults and they have been traveling the world together, basically as a romantic couple, and that tone is completely different because that is overtly sexual. I mean, the entire arc is all about them having sex everywhere, and it's very graphic sex, to then taking on new partners, to then finally finding a Shangri-La type of a place. It's actually an abandoned industrial building where, for reasons that we probably don't need to get into here, there's actual green vegetation growing in some of the cracks and crevices, and they get this idea to turn this into a paradise. So that whole chapter is basically about them creating this paradise, having it thrive, having dozens upon maybe hundreds of people come and live with them, and it's all free love and warmth, and it really is as close to paradise as you probably ever see. But then, of course, things don't stay that way, just like we had with Krakoa. And the final 5 issues, the final chapter, are done by Dragata, and he goes full on like Mad Max meets Day of the Dead, where the world has gotten even more fucked up, and our protagonists haven't seen each other in ages, have gone in their own directions. They're old and grizzled, and they get back together for one last heroic effort and sort of go out that way. And it's beautiful, man, on a lot of levels. And the thing that really comes through here, and again, I'm projecting. I don't know Jason Aaron personally, right? I mean, we don't I wouldn't say he's even an acquaintance, so I'm just projecting. But he's been very public in the media since his return to comics on a regular basis that he did go through a divorce. And I'm reading this book, and I'm thinking, dude, like, if I ever do get a chance to see him at a con or we get him on the show again, like, I would love to know if he was either consciously or subconsciously channeling reconciling the loss of his marriage in this book, because Maceo and Mezzi love each other, and they're like it's like perfect love, and then they drift apart. And for a lot of their life, they wonder to themselves, why did we drift apart? What was it? Was it? And they're thinking, was it this thing? Was it this thing? And they're like these grand things, like these world-changing things that they're talking about at the time. And they're like, I bet it was this. I bet it was this. And then they come to terms with each other at the end in the final chapter, where they actually have the conversation finally in their elderly years. And they both realize simultaneously that it was none of that. It was the littlest things. It was basically like things like taking a little jab or criticism from the other one, like it no longer felt like you could brush it off. It bothered you, or that the other one didn't just stop saying goodnight as they got into bed together after years and years saying goodnight to each other. And just basically the idea that the reason they fell apart, even though they had the most intense, passionate love ever, was just like the little things. Like they started taking each other for granted in small ways, and then that became bigger ways, and then that became them falling out of love. And like, that's, I mean, as someone who's, knock on wood, happily married and wildly in love with my wife, like, that hits, man. Because like, that's like, man, like, that's, because I could never fathom us not being together, right? And like, so if you're going to play out the string, like, well, how did, like, if someone's like, oh, I had such a great marriage, well, how did it end? Well, it was the little things like that. So I wonder if Jason, if that's part of how he kind of saw his marriage. And again, I'm projecting here. I don't know anything about his marriage, whether it was like that or they fucking hate each other. I have no idea. I have no clue. But my point is like that was a really beautiful like through line that is then in illustrated into these fucking visual bonkers post-apocalyptic orgy scenes and ultra-violent scenes where they're cutting off people's heads and limbs and disemboweling people. Like, it's just such a wildly different like visual alphabet that's being played with, and then under all this adventure is this like idea of like people truly falling in love with each other and then falling out of love. And it's just a wonderfully layered, nuanced story, and it works on multiple levels. It passes the Morrison test. If you just want to read this as a fucking gonzo, crazy 15-issue post-apocalyptic action story, it works. It totally works on that level. But if you want to peel back the onion a little bit and see the multiple layers, there's lots of layers there. And I think this would be a series I remember for a long time. Like, this to me is Jason Aaron. Like, this is why 10, 15 years ago when we were doing the show, Jason Aaron was like at or near the top of the industry for me. And you know, this is scalped Jason Aaron. You know what I mean? Like, this is like him doing what he does best. And I know we just talked about him with the Scrooge thing. Like, it's awesome to see him back making awesome comics that are distinctive and unique across different genres. Because that's, to me, when he was at his best, and not just banging out long form Marvel stuff. So kudos to Mr. Aaron and his partners, and I shudder to think what Felix is going to charge for these Dragata pages.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I think it's his strongest work in a long, long time.
Oh, definitely, dude. Yeah.
It kind of erases the I don't want to say stench, but that Avengers run was not good.
Nah, it wasn't hot.
I read a decent chunk of it, and I was just like, man, this doesn't even seem like that guy that we love.
And again,
but
I project, but maybe he was going through his divorce.
He could have been, yeah. No, yeah. I think you're right on the money. I think the series is very perceptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I love, when you can take something, a seemingly innocuous thing, and make it the reason for everything. Like that. That's just really good planning, very good writing, and the art's just amazing. I'm only up to issue like 9 or 10, but I think the series is great. Capital G, great.
And I know I said I wanted to get back to it, and I realized I didn't. I say it's mostly drawn by, because I think they do smartly, and I'd love to know how they plan this out, but they do have each of the 3 do contribute pages to the other arcs, because they're going back and forth through time, right? So, and that's kind of cool too. So it's like if anything you're reading in the story that takes place in those times is drawn by the main artist of that time, which I think is a really neat touch.
Yeah, Dragata was a footnote in the beginning of the book, but then he
we get that like it was the last page or 2, which is Dragata from the first or second issue. Yeah,
no, it's a really good series. It's going to make for a great hardcover, and you're going to want that on your shelf, because I think it's prime Jason Aaron. I think you're right.
Yep.
I hate to agree with you, but I think you're right on this.
I know, right?
Yeah.
See, the comics are great.
They are great.
There's too many comics. There's so many great comics that I don't have time to read them all.
I think we should have Eric Larson on for the 11 O'Clockers, because every damn category is going to be Eric Larson for me.
Dude, talk about a Chris Farley moment.
Yep.
Hey, Eric, remember the best miniseries of the year? Oh, it was you.
Yeah, remember when you did that thing? Well, you won. Would you like to...
Well, I told you I emailed him, but he hasn't even been back yet. So.
That's all right. He's busy. He's busy cranking out the Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
Great. Let's check the time. What do we really have to check the time? I don't think so.
We don't. We're unencumbered, dude.
Yeah, pants down. Letting it all hang out.
Let it all hang out.
Yeah.
That's right.
I made good on my promise last episode.
Oh, you got that thing checked out?
No, I'm you dick. I'm rereading reading the Berserk deluxe editions from Dark Horse. And I'm not going to get into specifics, because I believe I talked about the first 4 volumes somewhere along the line, the past 200 episodes. So go back and look for them. But I'm up to I'm through volume 3, which is Berserk, written and illustrated by Kentaro Miura. It's published by Dark Horse in beautiful deluxe editions. The takeaway is, and for me it goes back to Dave Sim. Dave Sim said, as an artist, or as a sequential artist, you have 2,000 bad pages in you. And you got to burn through them before you get to the good stuff. I'm paraphrasing. And it's very true as far as Kentaro Miura is concerned, because the first volume of Berserk, he's on somewhat shaky ground visually.
Oh, yeah?
It's not bad, but it's nowhere near the heights that he would eventually hit. Okay. He transforms into a visual powerhouse quickly, but in manga parlance, quickly's 200, 300 pages. So the first story of Berserk, the Black Swordsman, is good, but it's not even a hint of what's to come. Like, once he, I don't want to say learn the ropes, because Miura did stuff before Berserk, but he developed a visual voice on this series that I think is amazing, and it kicks in around the midway through the second volume. There's a battle with this character called Nosferatu Zod, and I think it's in the first book, could be in the second book, but it features some of the most dynamic, sumptuously rendered splash pages and panels that I've ever seen. I mean, it ranks up there with the best of the best. And he doesn't begin that way. He doesn't start off that way. It takes him time to find that visual voice and cultivate that way of mark making that he has. Like, there are double page spreads in this thing where you have scores of mercenaries storming a castle, right? You got men on horseback, men on foot, guys carrying swords, some carrying lances. They're all climbing up the ladders that are, you've seen a siege of a castle, right? These ladders are tipped up against the sides of the castle walls. You got guys going up. You got guys trying to defend the walls, trying to fend these guys off. The detail and the clarity of Miura's illustration is just impeccable. It's amazing. It's like the fantasy version of Where's Waldo. There are so many characters on a page, and they're all unique. They're all doing their own thing. Like, it is absolutely amazing. But Berserk doesn't start off that way. It starts off a little slow, right? Starts off with fucking, which is not a bad start.
That sounds like a good way to start.
No, it starts off good. It starts off with fucking, like Bastard. Bastard starts off with fucking too. But the thing that pisses me off, and this goes for almost every publisher of manga on the planet, they never translate the pages that were originally published in color in Japan to color in the domestic editions. They almost always transform them into black and white. That drives me crazy. It's in Fool Knight. There are pages that were originally published in color in Japan that are black and white in the American editions. Drives me nuts. What would it cost to print 4 pages, 6 pages in color? Not much. We're paying $15 for a tankobon. I think you can do it in color. Not going to take that much out of the bottom line. But the thing is, these high-end Dark Horse deluxe editions, there are color pages in the back. They reprint the covers in color, but there are still pages that lead into each volume that were originally published in color in Japan that are black and white in this book. And it bothers me because we're missing out. We're not getting the pages as originally published in Japan. It's disingenuous. If you're going to do a deluxe edition of a manga, 14 volumes, cover price $50 a piece, that's a huge investment on the part of the reader, right? And you're not publishing these pages in color as they were originally published in Japan. That's not right. That's not cool. It just makes me a little bit mad. But the I will go back to these books time and time again, not only to reread them, but as an illustrator, Miura pulls off some stuff that is just godlike in these books. Like, I'm not kidding. The battle with Nosferatu, he's a giant minotaur-looking guy with bat wings, and he's fighting in this enclosed space with multiple pylons that are holding up the roof or the ceiling, and he's throwing guts around through the pylons, and it goes on for like, I don't know, 30 pages, 40 pages? Like, it goes on for a long time. And every page, there's something that is just like, it makes you just stop and like, holy shit, this guy has some friggin' skill. So I wish you guys would read Berserk, but I can't expect you to read it. 14 volumes, $50 a piece. That's
the thing. It's daunting.
That's an investment, right?
Yeah.
But I think, like, there's a reason why I chose this as one of the series that I would invest in the deluxe editions, because the art, it warrants it. It is that good. You know, I mean, if you're not a fantasy fan, you're not going to find too much here. But if you are a fan of the fantasy genre and you like hyper detailed violence and great illustration, Berserk is the way to go. Like, I wholeheartedly recommend the what is it, $750 more. Do the math, Jason. 14 volumes, $50 a piece. Retail.
$700.
$700. That's not chump change.
It is not.
No, but it's very much worth it. Yeah, Berserk is great. And so I'll get into the particulars once I get past volume 5, because I've talked about them before. But I think it's a great series. One of the all-time best, really.
Nice.
Yeah. What else do we have? You bitches.
You bitches.
I like it when David repeats me.
I'm wondering it because I see David read it. I read it last week, but I see it's on his list. What you thought of speaking of nostalgia bombs, what you thought of the comics debut of, or at least modern debut of Gatchaman #1.
G-Force. I did. I also have the Ken and the Galactic on deck too, but
written by Cullen Bunn, art by Chris Batista, who I hadn't seen in a minute.
Yeah, and it looks a little different than what I'm used to seeing by Chris Batista. It's not bad by any stretch, but it wasn't. It was weird. I'm going to say that. I didn't throw it across the room, but when I had to double check to see if it was the same Chris Batista that I remember seeing on some DC books.
On Legion.
Right. And this doesn't really look like that.
No, it does not.
I realized after so I said I was flipping through the variant covers before I got to the interiors again when I said what I said, and I heard Jason, so I'm like, wait, am I wrong? Yeah, I guess I kind of am. Yeah, it's not. I mean I don't, like Vince said at the start, it was fine. I
don't use that word. Fine's
You're right.
Yeah, fine's not a good word. I don't use it. But anyway, you're right. I agree with you. I thought this was fine as well.
It was. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. I'll read the Ken issue and just see. Maybe I prefer this franchise in animated form from here on out, which is fine. I just I thought I kind of just wanted to see the team in action and not so much this B team that they're training with, and it was a weird first issue. I I didn't really have like massively high because I also didn't read the free comic book issue. So that maybe that would have meted my expectations, but I wanted to like it more than I did.
Yeah, me too, dude. I'm out. I'm out. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Again, there was another reason why this isn't on my list.
I mean, like again, not that this is an unintentional theme of this episode, I guess, but at least on the beginning and the end. But this to me is like the stereotypical licensed comic. It's in a world where we really do get some awesome licensed comics these days, between Turtles and obviously what the Skybound guys are doing and stuff. Like, I opened up this book and I thought, to your point, I really can't believe it's the same Chris Batista. And I know he's been away from comics for a long time, so I don't know maybe he has a completely different way of rendering. I don't know, but to me, he certainly draws a lot better than I ever could. So I'm loath to be too critical, but man, I thought this was. This is not someone that I would, if I didn't know the name already, I would have thought was getting much of a page rate. Like, I would have thought this was like a tryout book, that kind of level.
Yeah, I don't know if I can co-sign that. The ability is still there. It's just that this doesn't have the spark that Batista's Legion has.
Yeah, I just think
the guy, he can do it.
It's very stiff. I think the poses are very stiff. For me, it didn't work. I didn't care for it. I thought the art.
No, I agree with you on that one. Yeah. It just
and then because of that, I mean, if I'm not into the art, it's going to be hard for. But yeah, so that just if I don't like what I'm looking at, then I'm not going to feel the nostalgia. Like you said, Dap. I mean, if anything, this made me think like, you know what, it would be cool to stream some G-Force cartoons and watch them.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I know I wanted to get back to. I wanted to check out the second issue of Space Ghost after the first one, but obviously since I haven't, that's not entirely high on my list. But I mean, we had Thundercats, which I wasn't super keen on with that first issue. Space Ghost, which I haven't returned to. Now this, it's been I need something to kind of just remind me that that moving from one medium to another, it can still work. So I'm hoping that within the next batch of whatever's coming. That I mean, at least like you said, we've got the Skybound stuff. I haven't read the second issue of Scarlet yet, so I still have to get my hands on that. But I just other little things like when the team leaps into action, and I don't know why it was mapped out this way, but you've got the four characters, you've got four widescreen panels on one page, but then you got to turn the page to get to the owl, and it's one of those. You turn the page and you see. I just still think about the reveal on the next page when you're reading a comic and things like that. And it was just it didn't flow for me. The double page spread seemed to come out of nowhere. It was a weird issue.
Yes,
I didn't hate it. But No, I know.
It was. When I said I said fine, I know you started off the X-Men with.
No, but you hit the nail on the head. It was fine. That's not a compliment. It didn't urge me to rail at the heavens, saying they've bastardized, Gatchaman, or and it also didn't prompt me to praise anything. It just was. It's okay. At this point, I don't want okay. There's so many things we could be reading. Like Jason mentioned, or Dap, I don't remember, one of you, Skybound. Like, okay. I think DWJ and company are doing a very good service to the Transformers, because artistically it's brilliant, narratively it's really good. Like, what can you do with Transformers, right? He's doing the best he can with the franchise, I think. And it's engaging, it's captivating on a lot of levels. They're good comics. They're really good comics. But this is not that. This is just by the numbers Gatchaman. And I was just like, all right, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I hate to say that, because for any of these creators to embark on this, they have to love the property, right? You can't just draw an issue of Gatchaman and not like it on some level or not have experience with it. So it's distressing. It's a little bit sad that this wasn't like a home run, but it's the way it is. It's the way it is with art, right? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Mm-hmm. It is true.
And who knows? There's probably a bunch of people out there that is like, wow, that issue was great. More power to you.
Hey, look, I mean, I think Thundercats has been a big hit, which I'm happy. I'm thrilled because we love Declan and we love Drew. So I'm like, but to Ab's point, I don't think the issue for us didn't really hit any of us enough to compel us, But I'm super glad that it's listen, I don't have time to read every comic, so as long as the comic curls somebody's toes, then it's great.
Right. And I think one of the things we pride ourselves on here, if you're not a regular listener, is truth. We like to tell the truth. If something didn't connect with us in a major way, either pro or con, we have to be honest and tell you that. So Gatchaman's not a bad issue. It's not a great issue either. It merely is. So if you found something it's almost more fun if it was just a really a horrible issue, because then you can at least see the teeth in deconstructing it. But right, that's great. When you push the needle to the extreme of either side, that's awesome. Because you can just go all out. But when it's just middle of the road, you're going to get clipped on either side. Like, get the fuck out of the middle. Yeah. It's not a good place to be.
I mean, I don't know what percentage of comics you would say you talk about that you read, but inevitably we all read a lot more than we talk about. And I'm sure people that have started listening in the last year or two probably think we collectively don't read much superhero, and they probably think I read almost no superhero, and that's not true. Like, I read out of momentum a lot of superhero comics. I just don't often feel compelled to talk about them. Not because I dislike them, otherwise why would I keep reading them, but because I don't really feel like I have anything interesting to say about them. Right? Like, this superhero had a big fight with this villain and beat him. Like, okay, I mean, it's like it's got to have something more to at least make it an interesting conversation. And so I read a lot, and I enjoy quite a few of them, but they just don't generally have enough of a distinctive narrative to really want to talk about.
Right. I'm the same way. If I read something and it just didn't click, I'm like, well, I won't even put it on my list. Yeah. Because who wants to talk about a book that's just okay?
Well, how many times have we put stuff on our list that we didn't really want to talk about, and then almost like magic, one or the other of us be like, "Hey, what did you think of this? I see it's on your list." And then you're like, you're like, "Fuck, why did I put that on the list?"
Right. Yeah. And my recipe is, if I see you both have it on your list, I will intentionally not put it on my list, because then you should know that I did.
We know if you read it. We might just assume you haven't read it.
No, if you both have it on your list, I'm going to read it. Unless it's Wonder Woman, I'm going to read it. No, it's not fucked up. I just won't read Wonder Woman.
It is. It's actually majorly fucked up.
Sorry. Yeah. But, I mean, if you have it on your list, chances are real good I'm going to read it. And if I don't put it on my list, then you automatically know that I didn't dig it. Mm-hmm. Or I did, and it just didn't. Or I'm middle of the road, thought it was okay.
Right. Like last night when Vince told us that he read X-Men #1, and I said, I'll get to it, but it's not going to be... I have other things ahead of it.
Right.
But then Jason said he read it. I was like, well, then now I whether I'll be tiebreaker or not, or just one of those things. But I'm like, well, I at least want to be able to know what the hell you guys are talking about. So yeah, but there are definitely...
We are wired differently, because I look at you guys listen. I'm like, oh, you both read Barfly and you both read the 2099. Cool. I can't wait to hear what you guys thought of it.
See that you're missing. Like that, now you're missing out, because in my annual travels you are, because my annual travels is Barfly.
Barfly is a real. I was
right. Save it. Save it.
I will. I am.
Yeah. Save it. Okay. Hey, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this massive chunk of shit, and we hope you come back next time, because we love you so much. Please, if you want to save money on omnibus editions, trade paperback collections, OGNs, manga, all that stuff, please go to cheapgraphicnovels.com. Do yourself a favor. Cheapgraphicnovels.com will save you money and enable you to buy even more of the stuff you love. It's a great equation. And if you're a first-time customer, respond to the email confirmation saying 11 o'clock comics told me about this place. Henceforth, I am here spending money. Max will reply to you with free shipping on your next order. It is amazing. cheapgraphicnovels.com. Check out our Patreon. We have 2 tiers. For $5 a month, you can get an extra episode and bonus material. We in the past we have dispensed with the bonus material because we thought that it was not being received by many, but in the wake of taking it away, we've been hearing that people seem to have enjoyed that crap. So we're doing the bonus material again. So you will get a bonus episode for your $5 a month, plus a chunk. Could be an hour, could be 2 hours, depending on the banter for any given month. Another bonus episode with just us riffing on TV, movies, life, children, pets, whatever. Just a whole bunch of stuff. And then for $10 a month, you get that and the Slack channel, which is a whole mess of people talking about a whole mess of things each and every day. And it is a family environment. Regardless of your opinions, you will be welcomed with open arms. It's a no judge zone, like the gym thing, whatever they say, no judgment free zone. If you like X, chances are there will be someone there that also likes X, but willing to introduce you to Y.
Judgment free zone when it comes to comics and what you're enjoying entertainment wise.
Well, yeah,
we're a little judgy about certain other parts of
not me, maybe you. I don't judge anybody. I don't.
Okay, well,
whatevs. Patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. And please, I read it right. Wherever you listen to this, leave us a review.
Oh, yeah.
If you thought it was good, leave us a positive review. If you didn't like what you heard, leave us a negative review. I don't care as long as it's the truth. The truth is very important. So deliver it. In your travels, this may be the first book bearing the name Patton Oswalt that I've ever enjoyed. I have nothing against Patton Oswalt. I think he's a very yes. He loves pop culture. He loves comics. He loves a lot of things. He's got a great voice. He's in one of the best animated films ever created, which is Ratatouille. I think Ratatouille
it blows my mind. Of all the people in the world who
it's so crazy,
Ratatouille,
right?
It's fucking you. But okay,
Ratatouille has a whole mess of heart. I lose my shit when they give the critic the Ratatouille and he falls into the past because it tastes like the Ratatouille his mother's made. That is entirely me. If I could recapture the taste of my mother's sauce, I would have a Ratatouille moment. And I completely understand why he felt that way. But anyway. So this is written by Kyle Starks, Patton Oswalt, and Jordan Blum. The art is by Ryan Brown, and it is amazing.
It is.
Color art by Ryan Brown and Kevin Knipstein, or Nipstein, depending on the prominence of the K. Let's just call it Nipstein. It's Barfly, #1, and it's from the universe of Minor Threats. I thought it was great. The premise is you have a henchman. He's an anthropomorphic fly.
What's his name, Vince?
Shit Eater. And Shit Eater takes a lot of crap from a lot of people. Not only because people don't like flies, they think they're disgusting, and the guy was a henchman to a villain. So he takes a lot of garbage, and he's just trying to find his way in the world. He helps out on a robbery and is rewarded for his efforts by getting the shit kicked out of him and getting nothing out of his participation. But along the way, this is Ryan Brown. So Ryan Brown has a very strong propensity for humor. And there are sight gags, there are text gags, there's shit in the background that makes you laugh. The stuff in the foreground is brilliantly illustrated. I just thought it was a whole mess of fun. I'm not as deeply invested in the Minor Threats universe as DAP, but I like it a lot. I think it's a cool concept. And this, to my estimation, this is the best of the Minor Threat branded books I've read to date. Could be Ryan Brownie's participation. I don't know. It's got a great Scott Hepburn cover. I thought it was funny. I thought it was poignant. I feel for the little guy.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just thought it was worth my time and effort, and I'm sure it's going to get even more depressing as the series goes on, but I'm hoping my man comes out on top, and I think he will. Like, even at his job, he works under the table because he's an ex-henchman, and he does all the stuff, or he's told to do all the stuff that nobody wants to do. And because the boss pays him under the table, he's like, here's your pittance. And he's, wait a minute, what? He's like, dude, you're a henchman. What the fuck do you care? I can pay you anything you want, and you'll just keep coming back. And it's just how much shit can the world throw at this anthropomorphic fly before he cracks. It's a great series so far. The first issue was kicking. I mean, if you want to, who doesn't root for the underdog? In this case, it's the underfly. Like, I want to see Shit Eater come out on top because I think he deserves it.
Maybe he'll be in that band.
You read it.
I did. I liked it a lot. I still have to read the first spin-off miniseries, the alternates, but I want to finish the second Minor Threats miniseries before I go to that. But the first issue of Barfly was great, and it absolutely, I mean, it looks like it could fit into the same world as 8 Billion Genies. It's Ryan style. Same thing with the Gridiron Ghoul with his halitosis sound effects.
Oh, he's an asshole.
He is an absolute asshole. But I mean, Ryan's having a ball on the page with this. Every page is packed. The people are assholes. The background, like Vince says, the background, but get gags you've got all over the place.
It's dense.
Mad Magazine-esque. It's like they're over here trying to break into a place, and there's a sign on the door that says, "Please do not lockpick door." It's just little stupid little things. It's just I chuckle that there's something on every page you're going to laugh out loud about. But
the Band-Aids kill me.
The Band-Aids all over his eyes.
He's got Band-Aids on his eyes, Jason. It's crazy.
I mean, his wings were ripped off in a previous altercation, so he walks around everywhere. But he's a henchman. He's a burglar, and his services are taken for granted. And yeah, I mean, he seems to be gullible, and people take advantage of that, and it's hella unfortunate. And the last page, as Vince alluded to, it's probably going to get worse for Mr. Fly before it gets better by the end of the series. But I thought it was an absolute blast. I definitely second that, and I'll make life easy, and I'll just say, in your travels, Barfly #1.
Yeah, how could you not like a comic that actually uses the word Schadenfreude?
Yes,
as a sound effect.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it
is cool.
Enjoy the pain, folks. And
yeah,
right under it. But he's totally dead.
He's totally dead.
Ryan, man, we haven't spoken to Ryan in a minute, but I mean,
yeah, we did. We talked to him at Heroes.
No, I'm saying on the show. He hasn't been on the show in a minute. We haven't had a nice, lengthy conversation with him. We did go up to his table. We interrupted him and chatted with him for a little bit. But
he didn't want to sing first, though.
He did not.
No,
he did not. But yeah, I definitely think it is the most gag-filled of any of the Minor Threats issues that I've read to date, and but it's an absolute blast.
And you know what? It's exactly what I thought it would be. When I knew Ryan was drawing it, I thought, I know what I'm going to get, and it's exactly what I expected.
And it works. And it absolutely makes sense that a team like Kyle Starks and Ryan Brown would make a book like this. Yeah, I mean, Kyle wrote it, and of course Patton and Jordan, pitched in with the plotting. But it's a Kyle book. Although, I think even Ryan could have, based on his God Hates Astronaut stuff, Ryan could have written this as well. But it reads like a Kyle Starks book. The humor is here. Yeah. The pain and the pathos is here. So yeah, it's definitely a worthy endeavor. I am seriously looking forward to the second issue. Wish it was here already.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't read it because I've never read the Minor Threat stuff, so I didn't know.
And honestly, and I'll eventually shut up about it. This is even though it's set in that world, there is very little you need to know about the original miniseries to read this. You can read this.
Well, that's good to know because I mean, Ryan's my boo. I like everything he does if he has like a comedic say in it. But okay. All right, well, maybe you guys talk to me into it.
No, you don't need to know anything about
cool. Okay.
Minor Threats. Right. I mean, as far as the first issue goes, you don't need to know anything.
Mm-hmm. All right, then.
You still won't read it.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm about to tell you something that you definitely won't read, so there.
What is that? Is this the bike one? The fucking on a bike with a boat?
Yes, it is. In your travels, if you're a more refined sort who enjoys a more broad diaspora.
Oh, not me.
No,
dude, you use diaspora in a review. I'm done. I'm done.
Please check out Fantagraphics, and they're a publisher that really doesn't work with Vince too well. But for me, I like Fantagraphics.
You're not wrong.
Check out my Fantagraphics. Eleanor Davis's "You and a Bike and a Road." Here's the thing. I'm a big fan of Eleanor Davis, and we had a time there where we were getting basically a graphic novel from her pretty much every year or two, and How to Be Happy, Why Art, The Hard Tomorrow. They were all great, and talked about them all. And then we haven't gotten anything from her since 2019, so she basically took the pandemic off. More power to her. And then Fanta solicited this, You and a Bike and a Road. But what's fascinating is, after reading it and then looking into it for tonight's mention, it was actually published by Koyama Press in 2017. And so I guess Fanta's just now got the rights to republish it in a hardcover form. So I had no idea that this existed by Koyama, because we've certainly read and talked about stuff from Koyama. I just never noticed it, because I wasn't looking for that kind of thing from Koyama. But anyway, so I thought this was brand spanking new. It is not. It was actually written and drawn in 2016, so it actually precedes How to Be Happy, Why Art, and Hard Tomorrow. One thing that's very notable about it is that visually it is a complete departure from the other graphic novels I've read from her. And it's by design. It is drawn as basically a visual travelogue diary of a trip she took, and all of the drawings are basically black and white figure drawings, very simple, done on graphite. It's just graphite renderings of like a sketchbook would be, and like 2-dimensional, just graphite line work. And it chronicles Eleanor's true journey from her parents' house in Tucson, Arizona. The quest was to ride her bike from Tucson to Athens, Georgia, over the course of a couple weeks. And this is basically her attempt at that. And I say attempt because, spoilers, she's not ultimately successful, because she endures massive knee pain, and that's a big part of it. But I know, like, I was half kidding that you're not going to read this, Vince, but I will say that I actually think if you did step out of your comfort zone and read this, you would enjoy this, and here's why. This felt to me like I was reading a book from one of the beats. Like, this felt like a Kerouac book, not in the writing cadence and structure by any means, but the way that Eleanor can craft an entire 174-page graphic novel that is compelling, and the high points are like the littlest things, like her knee feeling better with the technique of meeting a friendly host who knows how to treat that pain. Like the joy of, while she's camping by the side of the road one night, like making a meal, a very simple meal, and like how much she enjoys the meal. Just that's what I've always loved about Kerouac's books, is that he found a way to make you think like the most mundane things that we take for granted every single day of our life were just magical and really all that mattered. And like I got that vibe from this. I mean, all this is her wanting to go on this bike journey and seeing if she could, and chronicling her successes and failures through it. And so it's again, there's not multiple layers here. It is an autobio book that, again, visually looks much different than her other stuff, but I really appreciated it. And admittedly, I think probably part of my appreciation for it is how much I like to bike, right? So, I would imagine that made it much more appealing to me than it might for some if you've never tried to ride long distance. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So, but look, it's Fantagraphics. I mean, not everything from Fantagraphics is going to hit every reader, but you always know that it's very well curated and it's going to be a nice package and it's going to be a worthy piece of art. It might not connect with you from a narrative perspective, but it's it's going to be a good work. And this one connected with me. So, You and a Bike and a Road by Eleanor Davis.
I like to play it up a little bit. The fact that you think there's a wide gulf between the stuff that you like and the stuff that I like. But when you say beats, I'm a big fan of subtlety. I'm a big fan of insight. And, I like exploration in a creative sense. Where so I would read this one.
Why art? I don't know if you ever did read it, but because that's just her basically visually trying to express her thoughts on what art is or what it what it.
I would probably read that. Yeah,
you would enjoy that. Yeah,
I wouldn't, or I would.
No, you would. I said.
Yeah, I'm sure I would. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's just that there's. Come on, there's so much to read out there.
Oh, no doubt. Fanta still holds a place for me where I am mentally trained to scrutinize them in previews. Like I every single thing they solicit, I go the extra mile of trying to look up the work online and see preview pages and read about it, just because I feel like they've earned that. And that does lead me to take a lot more chances on Fantagraphics stuff than I would really with almost any other publisher.
Same, but lately Fanta seems to be heading in a direction that I don't particularly understand. Like, I knew the creative entity that was Fantagraphics. I knew that being, but in the past, now I'm not sure who Fantagraphics is. Mm-hmm. And it's a bit distressing for me. It may signal the fact that I'm getting older and I've parted ways with, like, I read Hate Revisited #1. Mm-hmm. I used to love Hate. I thought,
you didn't like it?
No.
Wow.
I didn't connect with it. I just didn't. And then I read Now #13, an anthology that I used to bank upon as being new roads into creators that I haven't been experienced with, but offered something that compelled me to check out their other work. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Put it this way. What if I said to you, Manhattan Placenta Campsite Obstruction? Like, what each of those pieces mean. You could assign meaning to Manhattan and Placenta and Campsite and Obstruction, but together, when you put them all together, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's what Now #13 was to me. Like, the individual pieces made sense to me, but in sequential form, like, I had no idea what any of the, no, I shouldn't say any, the majority of the strips in the anthology, I had no idea I couldn't assign meaning to anything. And I was like, is it me? I don't know. So I don't dislike Fanta. They still have a place in my heart. It's just that the recent stuff within the past, 2 years, I don't get it. And it could be a me thing. I
was going to say. I think the things you're the stuff you're sampling. I think maybe you're on a streak where you're hitting stuff that is, because I think about J&K and Hypericum.
I love J&K.
Yeah, and Peter and Lisa, and I'm trying to think. Well, I didn't read Hate Revisited, so I can't speak to that.
At least the published Hanselman.
Yeah. My favorite thing is Monsters Volume 2 just came out. Right.
Yeah.
We just got new psychodrama illustrator from Gilbert. We've got,
now
you
that
just
works.
talked about mythologies and apocrypha and how that was awesome. And so
I haven't written them off.
Yeah, Fat Cop, right? You got Tender, which I loved. You got the N Word of God, which was great. Like, my point is, I think they're putting out still a ton of great stuff. I don't know that they ever had 100% hit rate. So I just think maybe you're like slightly out of vibration. I think you're gonna the tuning fork. If you hit the tuning fork, you're gonna be right back into thinking Fanta's top of the top.
I hope so, because there was a time when, whether it was a paper order form or digital, whenever I got to the Fantagraphics section, I would be like, yes. Like, I would order everything.
Yes, I'm still like that. I mean, I don't ever order everything, but I think I order enough that every year when they do the Fanta Buck sale and I go to, it's like a struggle for me to figure out what to order because I already own it all.
I wish I had that problem with Fantagraphics. So, I mean, we'll see. What was that one from Fanta that we both didn't like? It was
there's been a few.
No, it was a sci-fi book. It was about the resort.
Oh no, I like Spa. I love Spa.
No, not Spa. I love that too. It was it was a full color thing. It wasn't. Was it Eden?
Oh, didn't like Eden. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was another one too that I didn't like. But whatever. I'm still holding out hope that my vibration.
I think what it's interesting is Dap. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got a thing here where Vince has fallen out of love with his booze. Like, you didn't like Monica as much as many of us did.
No,
Klaus. You apparently don't. You're not liking Pete Bag's latest stuff.
Nope.
You started the show by saying you didn't really agree with Dap and I, that you thought this was substandard Matt Wagner. Like, maybe you're just like, I don't know. Maybe the anchors of, if you're becoming untethered. You're like, I don't like any old stuff anymore.
It could be. I do like where Hanselman's going with the latest zombie-based Megan Mogg strip. I like that a lot.
Cool.
Even though she needs to be taken out because she's a liability to everybody around her. But that is definitely going to get my favorite digital first or whatever webcomic thing, because I'm reading it on Instagram and it's really good, but it's very frustrating because Mega's just like, she's a problem. Yeah. Are you reading it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Well, you say that like, why wouldn't you read Hanselman? He's like the best Fantagraphics has to offer.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be surprised I'm not, though, because I haven't liked what I've read of him before. So why would I?
See, that's a you problem.
I agree. Listen, I've never once said that Hanselman is bad. I just said that he doesn't connect with me.
Oh, see, you're out of vibration. Fair enough. Ooh, wait, I gotta get my phone. Damn it, where is it? Because I have something queued up for David. All right, everybody.
Your phone's not right with you. Is it really queued up? But
yes, it is. You know what? See, peek behind the curtain, everybody listening. When I come home from work, I throw the phone on the dining room table and I don't look at it. And it's on the weekends.
We're aware of that.
Yeah, on the weekends, I put it there and I don't touch it till Monday morning.
Trust and believe.
Your booze are a 40-hour-a-week friendship.
Yeah. That's the weekend.
Why you gotta be so mean? I mean,
only on cons. That's it.
Well, because Dap and I are hanging on the weekends, ready to just shoot the shit on our days off, and you're just like, nah, Brennan.
But here's a plus that the slackers may reap the benefits from. I think I'm pretty much done with social media. Interacting on social media.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I use Instagram for finding new art and new
visual pleasures.
No, I don't. No, I don't like the girls on Instagram because just today I was looking.
You never know if they're or not.
That's the thing. There's this one girl, gorgeous girl, but I'm looking at her videos and her boobs change size over the course of every video, and I'm like, this is not the same girl. This is a face that's been pasted on.
The AI AI bays.
No, so I'm just done with them. I don't look at any women on there. What's the point, right? I use.
I mean, you can tell the difference, but
whatever. I don't want to even go there. I use Instagram for art and horror movies, and all associated with horror movies. So that's great, but I don't actually interact or post much. So I'm thinking the Slack is going to benefit because I don't waste my time on Reddit or Instagram anymore. So I'm just going to take all that time that I had and dump it onto the Slack. For better or worse. You know, be careful what you wish for. So there's that. Crickets. That's great. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to us. We hope you come back next time. We hope you enjoyed this extra long episode. Get used to it because it may continue. Who knows? Well, whatever. In the meantime, get yourself to a comic book shop. Buy some stuff. Read them. Get online. Talk about them. But come to the Slack and talk about them. We would love to have more voices. Just chewing up the digital ether on comic books and other things. So in the meantime, say good night. I hope this works.
Hey, shit. Is everything okay? No, I just fired me. What happened to the music? The band left, the guy freaked out. Derek fired me. Ah, it's no big deal. Robert, you don't get it! It's the Catalina wine mixer! Right, Dad, it's a big deal. Okay, here's the thought. I see an empty stage. I see drums. I see a drummer.
I love this
microphone.
movie.
And I see a singer. Dad, come on. What? We gave that stuff up. Yeah, we don't do that. Listen to me, Dale. Look, when I was a kid,
all right, David.
When I was a little boy, I always wanted to be a dinosaur. I wanted to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex more than anything in the world. I made my arms short, and I roamed the backyard. And I chased the neighborhood cats, and I growled.
Our concentric circles for film are so thin.
You don't like Step Brothers?
I hate Step Brothers.
Oh, stop. We're done. We are so done. This may be a make or break scenario.
Oh, stop.
God.
Oh, my God.
It is easily my least favorite Will Ferrell movie. Like, it's like not even close.
Catalina Wine Mixer?
It's where else are you going to hear Mary Steenburgen say what the fucking fuck?
I
love this
on Curb Your Enthusiasm, like every episode.
That's all right.
Oh no, people! Seriously, tell Jason how wrong he is.
Oh, listen, I understand a lot of you fine folk like Step Brothers. That's cool. You love. Listen, we all love what we love. You love the Sandler. You know, I don't think with that. I mean, that's all good. Humor's subjective, man.
Is it though?
Yeah. What's interesting on that one though is that I'm a fan of the constituent parts in most of everything else they do. So that's I like John C. Reilly. I like Farrell. So that's what surprises me about that one. But
I really don't think you can use constituent in a review of Step Brothers.
Why not?
Because it's lowbrow. It's entirely lowbrow.
It is.
Did you say David?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay. We're done. We love you.
Your mind went pure white with rage.
Yes, it's true.
It's because it's like does not compute. I just thought it was a universally loved movie.
I think it is. I mean, nothing's universally loved, but I think
hit.
Well, Adam Sandler.
I mean, I think Talladega Nights is way funnier, and I don't like.
Oh,
NASCAR.
It absolutely is 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I can't stand NASCAR, but yeah, no, Talladega Nights I can watch that anytime. Like even if
Shake
like
and Bake, baby. I mean, that's
fucking No, and I crack up at that movie.
All right. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Dirt.
Not a fan.
We're done.
I can take David Spade, but I don't.
Yeah, again, I think David Spade's funny, but yeah. What's that one? The one that
never ever say Deuce Bigelow because I'll no way.
Oh, Deuce Bigelow. No, Deuce Bigelow is fine.
Nah.
I mean, but like I don't ever have a need to like rewatch it, but I don't. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like comedians are funny. Like I think Ben Stiller's funny, but I haven't liked a lot of his movies. Like I think when I see him playing himself, or like I think he's funny, but like I don't think Zoolander's particularly funny.
Yeah, I'm not big on Zoolander. Dodgeball,
but like Dodgeball, I could watch anytime it's on.
Yeah.
So it's like, but like they're all dumb, they're all silly, but like for some reason, like what's the one I'm sure you like it, Vince. But I mean, what's the one with No, because I think we've talked about it before the one with Sandler and Rock and where they're all like buddies.
Grown-ups.
Grown-ups. Yeah.
And its sequel. Yeah.
I mean, I can't stand that movie, but I think most people I know,
I haven't watched it,
or Vince included, like it. So yeah.
And I like a lot of people. I mean, Kevin James is in that movie. I like a lot of people in that movie. I haven't seen.
He doesn't like Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand that.
Oh,
that's a movie. I mean, that's just stupid.
The only time Kevin James has ever been worth having in a movie was
Hitch. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Something's really wrong. I mean, did you have something very traumatic happen to you? Like
maybe, you know.
I mean, I did have a traumatic childhood, as you know, so maybe, I don't know, like what.
And when I say Jim Gaffigan, you just say, hell no. That's not.
Oh, no, I don't get him at all. Like
that's not right.
I understand that you guys all love him, that's cool, but he just, it's like really, like, I'm not saying you guys are wrong to like him. I'm just saying he doesn't make me laugh. Like, if a comedian doesn't make you laugh, then what are you like that? It's pretty binary, right? Like, I mean,
I have there's two great comedians. One makes me think. One makes me piss my pants. Chappelle makes me think.
Sure, I knew that was coming.
Gaffigan makes me piss my pants.
Gaffigan is funny.
I do think Chappelle's the GOAT. Whatever his opinions on anything.
Well, I was going to say, I'm having trouble separating the man from the.
No, I mean, yes, he has some opinions that I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's on stage and he's doing his thing, I don't think there's anyone better than Chappelle.
We actually had this conversation a few years back. Similarly, we're just riffing, and I pulled up a list from Comedy Central of their top 100 comedians of all time, and we went through it, and I think we largely thought, we all were generally like, yeah, it's a good list. Like any of these lists, you're not going to agree 100%, but it's just funny how that list has like cancel culture has made the list less palatable.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I think the greatest comedian to ever take the stage was Lenny Bruce.
He's number 3 on the list. Again, you might recall we had this kind of like and I just said all I said about him was I don't profess to know enough about his work. I mean, I'm very familiar with him as his reputation, but I can't.
But he falls on the Chappelle spectrum. Like Lenny Bruce made me think. A lot of what he did on stage was not what I would consider comedy.
Yeah, number 1 on the list is Richard Pryor, which again is.
I like Pryor a lot, but he's not. Yeah. He's not in my top 5. Andy Kaufman would be my number 2.
George Carlin is high on the list.
Yeah, Carlin's high on my list too.
Number 2 on the list. He's number 2.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I mean.
Yeah, the list is Pryor, Carlin, Lenny Bruce, Woody Allen, Chris Rock, Steve Martin, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Cosby, Roseanne Barr, Eddie Murphy. That's your top 10.
Woody Allen?
Roseanne
really?
Barr is ahead of Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
At the time of that writing?
I mean, listen, you can't get called about like who's 9 and 10. Because, again, these lists are compiled by, right? This is Comedy Central did a whole, like, they had a big event where they did like.
Yeah, but, I mean, which is absolutely fine. But, like, Roseanne Barr had a run as a comedian. Then she had her show, and then that was pretty much it. So, like, I mean, to look at her body of work and like put her
probably quality over quantity. You know what I mean? Like they probably who knows? I don't know. Again, I'm trying to make this list.
Now, see, it's
Johnny Carson's 11, then Seinfeld, Robin Williams, Bob Newhart, Letterman, Ellen DeGeneres, Don Rickles, Jonathan Winters, Bill Hicks, and Sam Kinison. Now, again, I think Sam Kinison has his place, but he wouldn't be anywhere near my top 20. He was a one-trick pony.
I think Sam was revolutionary.
Yeah, funny dude. I'm not like, but he wouldn't be in my top 20. Like, there's no.
Bill Hicks is another one that makes you think.
I like Bill Hicks a lot.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, he's gone.
I mean, again, like just like Dave Chappelle's 43rd in list, and that's silly. Like that's
it's.
But as far as TV comedians, like comedians that did not go on, that didn't do stand up, that were just plain funny, nobody beats Jackie Gleason. Nobody.
I mean, you love Jackie Gleason.
I do.
That's rude.
I thought he was the funniest motherfucker on TV.
I know you. Yeah, you very much.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, if you go to Ranker, which again is just like modern people voting, right? Chappelle's number 1, George Carlin's 2, Richard Pryor's 3, then Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy's 5, Bill Burr. People love Bill Burr. Rodney Dangerfield, Chris Rock, Norm Macdonald, and Steve Martin.
Shit, Norm. Yeah, Norm was great too.
Yeah.
Norm was really funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Norm was hysterical. And he was a mix of the Gaffigan made you piss your pants and the Chappelle made you think.
Yep. Then there was this was Don Rickles, Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais, Mitch Hedberg, Mel Brooks, Jim Gaffigan, John Cleese, Red Fox, Carol Burnett, Betty White. So good list, Again,
good list.
TV comedians. But yeah, respect.
Much respect. All right, we've overstayed our welcome. We love you so much. We'll be back for more of the same. We hope you come back too. In the meantime, tell them you love them so much and say it funny.
So much.
You guys so much, and I hope you're all good with us going back to the longer form episodes.
Yes.
That's the best. Yes. You were just Ed McMahon.
I could be Ed McMahon. No, it was also the episode of Rick and Morty where they were in the simulator and Jerry thought he did good at his job, and it was all just a simulation. So he's like he demands he's bringing an apple. He's an ad exec, so he's bringing an apple. The fruit campaign to his office, and he's like, and basically it's just a rip off of the Got Milk campaign, and then he decides to man up and demand that his boss accept the campaign and that he be eligible for an award. He's like, is there something like an Appley? Is there an award like that where we can nominate? And his boss is just, and because the simulation is all jacked because of what Rick is doing behind the scenes, like the guy is like, it's almost like he's a hologram or AI, and he's like walking through a desk, or he's walking towards a wall, but he just keeps saying yes at every time Jerry says something. So that's kind of not what I was going with, but when I said it, I thought of it. But Ed McMahon works as well. That's fine.
That is some goddamn conceptual continuity.
You are correct.
Because we started off with a back road roundabout dap getting to home base, and then we end with it. So that's good. But we love you. Come back, please. Say bye.
Bye.
That's it for that one.